Deus, o salutaris nostre, Domine ex Deus, Deus, ex Deus, Deus noster, Domine ex Deus, Angeli, Arcangeli, Pateti, Laudem Domino Maestatis,
Hey, how's everybody doing? Hope you're having a fantastic day. It is Monday, October 14th, 2024. And tonight, we'll be going over a special video. This is generally what I would do for my patron stream. But I decided that I wanted to, do this in public because it's a very famous takedown of the diamonds. This is one that Jerome recommended to me. He sent it to me. So I'm going to review it. So I don't know how this whole, by the way, this is kind of a new thing, but I don't know how all this works. I'll be doing also cross-streaming this to Rumble because you guys want to back up in case something bad happens, which bad stuff frequently happens. And, I have to take videos down and everything like that. And you guys are crazy in the live chat, blah, blah, blah. So I'm supposed to be doing this simultaneously to Rumble. I'm checking out the link. It doesn't look like it's on yet. So we'll see how that works. I have to work out the kinks because I can technically do it through StreamYard, but it doesn't look like it's working too well right now. Let me try to view it on Rumble. Okay, recording in process live. So it says it's live right now. So I don't know. Let me check it. Oh, yep, I'm talking. Okay, well, yeah. If you guys want to be crazy in the live chat and act like absolute monkeys, then you guys can go right ahead. You guys can be more than welcome to act like a bunch of monkeys in the Rumble stream, okay? So if you want to be monkeys in my live chat, go to Rumble, and I can still see you in here. I think I can still see you in here. Yeah, I can. Look, we have a Rumble person there. If you guys want to act like monkeys, you guys want to go crazy, you guys want to say schizo stuff that'll get me banned on YouTube, go to Rumble. That's your containment chamber right there, okay? I will ban all of you from YouTube, and you guys can't complain that you have no access to the live chat because there's a live chat over there that I can see, okay? So do we have all that straight? That's running right now. Twitter's running right now, and which you can actually comment under Twitter too, and I can see it. And YouTube is. But YouTube is where you guys need to be on your best behavior. Because if YouTube gets taken down, I guess I'll be the Walmart Thomist in a little bit more of a literal sense. Okay? Do I make myself clear? But also go and subscribe on me. Subscribe on that channel to me on that channel, Scholastic Answers. Go subscribe because I like it. Anyways, this will be the best video on the diamonds, greatest video on the diamonds ever done. It's the Shine on You Crazy Diamonds, Part 1, Most Holy Family Monasteries, and I'm quoting them, literally retarded eisegesis. Okay? So this is such an epic video. And I'm going to send you guys to the guy's YouTube. You guys need to subscribe to him. I don't think he really does videos, but subscribe to him anyways. Okay, so it's right here. It's such an epic video. Let's get right into it because it's really long. I'll be periodically stopping, if there's a super chat or whatever to answer the chat. I'll be watching the chat and periodically stopping to comment. But this is just such a masterpiece. It's such a good video. I love it so much. Okay. Skibbity. The diamonds, you spelled diamonds wrong, are ethnically Jewish. I once heard, but not sure about that. Is this true, chat? Let's what last name Diamond? Okay, last name Diamond origin. Okay, Diamond origin. It's an English variant. Oh, Jewish Ashkenazi? What? Yo, is this true? I thought that was a meme. Okay, let me share this real quick. Yo, is this the case? Do we have a little bit of an early life history to to discuss here? Whoa. Wow. Okay. I mean, they could just be English, Irish, or Americanized. It could be Greek, but yo, that's yeah, that's some crazy information. Can anybody, yeah, somebody confirm that for me, okay? I don't want to leave you guys in suspense. Okay, so let's get right to the video. It's such a great video. It's extremely entertaining. I'm going to put it on 1.25 speed just because you guys, that's just how you guys function, okay? I don't know if I'll get through the whole thing. I might like cover the last 30 minutes or something in like a patron exclusive stream tomorrow if we don't get through the whole thing. Patron/member exclusive stream. So if you're a member, you can also see it. Maybe, or we might just get through the whole thing. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, here we go. Wait, can I hear this? Oh yeah, it doesn't have any sound yet. Yeah, this is true. We need to force him to make more videos. Yeah, but I'm also streaming on YouTube too.
Literal, consisting of or expressed by letters following exact words. Literalism.
Oh yeah, does this guy sound like the you know the guy who was doing the Mr. Beast exposed videos? Was that Dog Pack like 404 or something? Dog Pack 404. These guys have the same exact voice. Let me pop over real quick just for the I need confirmation on this. They sound like they have literally the same voice. Okay, let's see all this one. Yeah. Let me Oh, come on. Really?
Do you think attention is the most valuable currency in the world?
Well, of course.
No, we have to be the real channel that doesn't fake things.
In this video, this wink was added in post. In fact, 58 was actually on the far opposite side of the room from 42, and he just didn't hear him. This
Yeah, don't they sound like they have the same voice? Okay, let me go back now. Let me go back. Okay.
is of accepting or interpreting in the literal
Yeah, they
sense,
sound like they have the exact
extreme
same
realism
voice.
and representation or portrayal. Retard, to hinder or obstruct,
Retard.
delay, keep back. Retardation, the act of retarding, hindrance, postponement. Eisegesis, interpretation of a text according to
they?
one's own idea, as of a biblical passage. The Diamond Brothers of Most Lonely Family Monastery have made some of the most peculiar and idiosyncratic interpretations of scripture that you will ever see. They follow a method I can only call literally retarded eisegesis. I call it this because A, the Diamond's interpretation usually appeals to a myopic, hyperliteral, contextless reading of the text, and B, because it's literally retarded. Case in point, the Diamondite interpretation of 2 Thessalonians 2, verses 3-4. Quote, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for unless there come a revolt first, and the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth, and is lifted up above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself as if he were God."
Yeah, what I like about this video is rather than going through like a bunch of different instances, he actually just like nails them. He absolutely ices them on a single point. And he goes through like everything, the fathers, doctors of the church, so that just to ice him on a single point, while also making it very entertaining. That's what I like about this video in particular. He doesn't try to do too much in it. It's really good. That's kind of the general setup of the video. He's just going over their like really retarded eisegesis of that single verse, and then interspersing it with other like very retarded examples.
In one of their most outlandish claims to date, the Diamonds twist this passage from St. Paul to their own purposes, and with what can only be called chutzpah, insist that these words in verse 4, "who opposeth and is lifted up above all that is called God," were intended to be read in a literal mode, as a description of the proximal physical position of the Antichrist in relation to an array of other religious leaders at one particular moment, at one particular future event, which turned out to be the Assisi prayer gathering. If you aren't familiar with the Diamonds, you probably think I'm making this up. Well, here's the video.
2 Thessalonians 2 prophesies that the man of sin, the Antichrist, comes in connection with the great apostasy. It describes him as the one reclining across from and raising himself above every so-called god or object of
What's
worship.
its proof?
As we point out in the
proof?
video the Antichrist identified, the verse could be translated as the one reclining across from, a more literal translation, or the one opposing, a strictly speaking metaphorical translation. However, the metaphorical translation, that the man of sin opposes every so-called god, even though the underlying verb is used metaphorically in various other passages of the New Testament, doesn't make the most sense in this passage. For why would the man of sin oppose the worship of false gods? Satan's kingdom is not divided. Satan organizes the worship of idols, and thus it would make sense that the man of sin would support idols and false gods. Hence, the literal sense and the literal translation in which the man of sin positionally is reclining across from and raising himself above every so-called god or object of worship at a huge event that reveals/signals the great apostasy makes more sense. That corresponds precisely to what happened with John Paul II at Assisi on October 27, 1986.
Now, the word in the Greek which is translated as opposing is the participle antikamenos. It's from the verb antikemai. Antikemai, which is a combination of anti, meaning against, and kemai, meaning I lie, I recline, I am set, is frequently used for things that oppose one another in some way.
That's why numerous translations render the word in its first as opposing. The verb antikemai is used to describe various forms of opposition between people or things in one way or another.
But antikemai can simply mean positional opposition. Antikemai can simply refer to lying or reclining or being placed across from or opposite something in a positional way. In other words, it can mean being face to face with someone or being situated across from him. Hence, antikamenos in 2 Thessalonians 2:4, which is sometimes translated as the one opposing, can simply mean the one reclining across from,
More
or the
proof.
one lying across from, or the one sitting across from, or being set or situated across from, etc. It can mean one who is face to face with someone else.
Hence, 2 Thessalonians 2:3-4 could be translated this way, quote, "For that day will not come, unless the apostasy comes first, and the man of sin be revealed, the son of destruction, the one reclining across from, and raising himself above everything that is called God, or every object of worship," end quote.
2 Thessalonians 2, verse 4 could be translated a number of ways, but Peter Diamond fails to mention how it has been translated in the Latin Vulgate since at least the time of St. Jerome in the 4th century. He also fails to mention that the Latin Vulgate was declared to be the only authoritative version of the Bible by the
I'm muted. Okay, I know. I'm a boomer. But one point of correction on our for our friend here: Latin Vulgate's not the only authentic or authoritative version of the Bible, but the only Latin authentic Latin version of the Bible, which is you see from the citation from the Council of Trent that they'll bring up. Like, for example, the Greek New Testament. That's an authentic version of the New Testament.
Council of Trent. Quote, "Moreover, the same sacred and holy synod, considering that no small utility may accrue to the Church of God if it be made known which out of all the Latin editions now in circulation of the sacred books is to be held as authentic, ordains and declares that the said old and Vulgate edition, which by the lengthened usage of so many years has been approved of in the Church, be in public lectures, disputations, sermons, and expositions held as authentic, and that no one is to dare or presume to reject it under any pretext whatsoever." Council of Trent, Session 4, Second Decree.
The one reclining across from and raising himself above everything that is called God, or every object of worship, end quote. Now watch this.
Notice how Brother Diamond introduces this next segment as if it's a magic trick or a stunt he's about to pull off.
Now watch this.
At the 1986 Assisi event, John Paul II and the representatives of every so-called god and object of worship were arrayed together on a platform. John Paul II, as the leader and host, was located prominently in the center. And when the various pagans and false worshippers got their chance to worship, they had to descend from the platform to a podium. They had to walk down various steps, descending from a higher spot to a lower spot, in order to reach the podium where they faced their so-called god and offered prayers and worship. That means that John Paul II was located above, where the various unbelievers worshiped. John Paul II had raised himself above the spot where they offered prayers to the various so-called gods and objects of worship. Further, as the pagans and unbelievers worshiped their so-called god or gods at the podium, they offered prayers toward the object of their worship, just as one would expect. They faced their so.
Oh yeah, thank you. I see on the Rumble. Thank you, Dawson Bicknees, for my first Rumble super chat. Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Called God or gods. They said prayers in the direction of where they believed him to be. The pagans and the unbelievers were thus positionally opposite, or directly across from, or face to face with what they were worshiping. The object of their worship was thus across from, or positionally opposite to them. And as they did this, where was John Paul II? He was not only on the platform raised and elevated above them, as we saw, but he was also reclining directly behind them, in a straight line back from where they were. That means that just as the unbelievers were positionally opposite or across from the object of their worship,
What?
John Paul II, reclining above and directly behind them, was also positionally opposite or across from the object of their worship. 2 Thessalonians 2:3-4, foretelling the coming apostasy, says that the man of sin is the one reclining across from and raising himself above everything that is called God, or every object of worship. The passage is a perfect description of Assisi and anti-Pope John Paul II's position at Assisi. John Paul II was reclining across from and raising himself above all the so-called gods and objects of worship, exactly as it says in 2 Thessalonians 2:3-4, and this happened at a world historic event that is the single most notorious event of apostasia, the apostasy, the very thing St. Paul describes in 2 Thessalonians 2:3-4.
Some of the objections that first present themselves to the critical auditor of this insanity include: Objection 1, it's shameful and ridiculous on the face of it. Enough said. Objection 2. The devil is not above forbidding idolatry and false religions. Peter Diamond makes the desperate claim that the devil and his perfectly possessed man of sin / Antichrist would never dispense with idols and a diversity of false religions after they had served their purpose and the entire world had been conquered by the mystery of iniquity, since, quote, hell is not divided against itself. This has got to be one of the dumbest claims either the Diamonds have ever made, but it's closely rivaled by the time they claimed that anti-Pope Francis qualifies as Petros Romanos to find.
Oh yeah, wait. This is they cook so hard these next. You guys need to pay attention to these next few minutes. This is so amazing.
Putative pontiff prophesied by St. Malachi to rule at the temporal end of the world, since Francis is from Argentina, which is located, some would say, at the spatial end of the world. The time they claim Benedict XVI called down fire from heaven to the wonder of the whole world in fulfillment of Apocalypse 13:13. The time they claimed that the Deepwater Horizon explosion and oil spill was probably the fulfillment of the burning mountain and water turned to blood in Apocalypse 8:8.
And keep in mind that they didn't have offshore oil drilling platforms in St. John's day.
The time they claimed that the Fiat Lux light show, which projected high-definition footage of various animals on the facade of St. Peter's Basilica, was the fulfillment of Apocalypse 18:2. The time they claimed the euro coin and cash note, in conjunction with the Novus Ordo sacrament of holy orders, together constitute the mark of the beast on the hand and the forehead, without which one cannot buy or sell. The time they claimed that a power outage in Brussels following their appearance on Coast to Coast AM was the pouring out of the vial of darkness in Apocalypse 16:10 on the seat of the beast. The time before that, when they claimed that the 2010 volcano eruption in Iceland was the Apocalypse 16:10 vial of darkness being poured out in the kingdom of the beast. That time they claimed Benedict XVI was the seventh king of the end times beast of the apocalypse, who, quote, must remain a short time, since his nearly 8-year reign was a short reign.
By resigning after only 7 years, Benedict XVI had a short reign. He thus fulfilled the prophecy about the seventh king. The Apocalypse says that the seventh king will reign for only a short time. Apocalypse 17:10, quote, and when he has come, he must remain a short time, end quote.
Even though the average papal reign...
Yeah. Okay. So some of you are asking, like, where's the video? Okay, I cannot find this video. Was looking for it the other day to no avail. Yeah, he unlisted it. And people are asking what the channel name is. Okay. So channel name right there. Mark Neneman. You know, I can't pronounce things. But yeah, it's from 4 years ago. Old gem. Let's continue.
Throughout history is about 6.96 years, which means Benedict XVI reigned for around 10 months longer than the average papal reign throughout history. Also, Benedict XVI reigned 1.7 times longer than the third king of the apocalypse, John XXIII, who lasted only 4.6 years. Also, Benedict XVI reigned about 83.33 times longer than John Paul I, the fifth king of the apocalypse, who reigned only 33 days, and isn't mentioned in the book of the Apocalypse as the one with the short reign. No, that's reserved for Benedict XVI, the third shortest reigning king of the apocalypse, whose reign is longer than the average papal reign throughout all history. The time they claimed that the two witnesses of the apocalypse in chapter 11, who cursed the world with droughts and plagues and preached for 1,260 days until the beast that rises up out of the abyss and wages war against them finally prevails and kills them, were who'd they say they were again?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that's right. They don't ever tell you who the two witnesses were, even though the Antichrist has come and gone and we're at the very end of the world and everything's been fulfilled. Kind of a telling omission, don't you think? That time.
Yeah, basically they think they imply very heavily that the Diamond Brothers are the two witnesses of the apocalypse. That's the very heavy implication, but they refuse to like actually state it outright, even though it gets repeated by a lot of their fans. Yeah, the Diamonds are the two witnesses. Yes, that's the implication. Yep, Diamonds are two. That'd be profanation if I asked in the live chat. Whoa, there's almost a 50-50 split on the Diamonds based question. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Oh, thank you for becoming a member. Heart. And all of you on Rumble and those also who are listening on Twitter and YouTube, remember to follow me on Rumble. I don't like that it says that I have 7 followers right now. It makes me, makes me feel weird that I only have 7 followers on Rumble.
And they claim there's absolutely no possible natural explanation for how face-changing magicians change their face masks other than demons. Even though anyone watching the video can see that the magicians almost always have one hand hidden in their robes when their masks change. And also, you can literally see strings pulling the masks off in the very clip they use.
If people are looking for a natural explanation for these acts, they won't
video.
Find one. There's simply no natural explanation.
Dude, the magic video is so schizo. I need to get somebody, because I know a few of my followers are like really into magic. I need to get one of them who's like really into magic just to explain why every single point in that video is retarded. It's such the So the Diamond Brothers have a Spanish version of their Vatican Catholics, like Vaticano Catholica or something. But the Spanish version of the magic video has like 20 million views. Oh man, they made buckets, absolutely buckets of money off of that video. It's crazy. This is like a 3-hour video too. The watch time on that must be insane in like the Spanish version and even the English version too. It has millions and millions of views in every single language they published it. It's crazy.
For the instant transformation of his garments or masks, let alone both. The real explanation for how the instant changes are made is that they happen with the assistance of demons.
So true.
Quan spoke about one of his shows in which
I should bring him on for like a review video of like a live review. That'd be fun.
What's really happening is that the masks are actually disappearing instantly. That's why, even to this day, no video camera in the world has ever picked up even one clue as to how their quote masks
with end times prophecies, but it does show how blind, in the literal, not metaphorical.
Oh, yo, somebody became a monthly supporter on Rumble. I don't know what that does. But I really appreciate it. I don't know what a monthly supporter on Rumble is, but thank you very much, Mr. Catkins. I appreciate it.
Sense the diamonds are as a curse from God for their astounding pride and arrogance. That time they said Michael J. Fox got Parkinson's disease as a curse for starring in Back to the Future. This is from an e-exchange on their website from around 2009. Many of our readers are probably familiar with one or all of the Back to the Future movies, which starred Michael J. Fox. First of all, we should point out that these movies should not be viewed by a Catholic. The main reason is that the plot surrounds a car that can travel through time. A car which can travel through time when...
Okay, so this part is really funny too, where he starts complaining. Michael J. Fox. Oh, man, had Parkinson's. Okay, yeah. This part, lock in, boys. Lock in. This part's great.
Hits a certain speed is almost idolatrous or occultic, for only God is above time. We also find it interesting that in the car, if we recall correctly from many years ago, there is some kind of 3-part system which is the key to time travel. In our opinion, this is probably a devilish substitution for the Holy Trinity. Isn't it interesting that the actor who traveled...
Okay, what are the 3 operations of the intellect? That is the first The first operation is simple apprehension, and you simply apprehend concepts. The second is judgment. The third is reasoning. The first one is produces a term, so like cat. Second one produces a judgment, like the cat is red. And the third produces a syllogism, like all men are mortal, Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is immortal. So it's term, judgment, syllogism. Okay? 3 operations. Simple apprehension, judgment, reasoning. Okay? That makes sense? Boom.
Traveled through time, is now suffering the effects of old age. As a young man, he wanted to go to the future. We believe this was how God punished him for his part in this evil movie. He wanted to travel through time, and now he is like an old man, and has been so since he was 29. A similar thing happened to Christopher Reeves, who played Superman. Reeves was paralyzed and unable to move, since the role of Superman served as a substitution for Jesus Christ, the only God-man. It's interesting that in life, Christopher Reeves was paralyzed and unable to even walk. The one who purported to fly and leap tall buildings in a single bound couldn't even walk. This, of course, begs the question, why is Keanu Reeves so healthy? He starred in the 1989 classic Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which is also about time travel, and uses a time-traveling phone booth, and also contains a mockery of the Trinity, a mockery of the general concept of organized religion, as well as mockery of the Catholic saint Joan of Arc. In 1992, Keanu played one of the main characters in Francis Ford Coppola's Grand...
Oh yeah, by the way, the poll in the chat, diamonds-based question mark, that is, it's 50-50 right now, like dead on 50-50. This is crazy. Okay, 51% no. You guys, I'm going to keep this up. I'm going to keep it up because it is so close right now. Exactly 50-50 right now. Never seen anything so close.
which contains depictions of blasphemy, sacrilege, mock sacred scripture, eternal life, and the Holy Eucharist. Gary Oldman, who played the vampire, other than the typical Hollywood marital and substance abuse struggles, seems to have escaped retribution as well. There was also 1997's The Devil's Advocate, in which Keanu's character discovers himself to be literally the son of the devil, and the devil tries to tempt him into committing incest with his half-sister, also fathered by the devil, to father the Antichrist. And the climax of the film has Keanu saying free will before shooting himself in the head. And the film portrays the ridiculous notion that suicide is a way out of demonic temptation and extremely upsets the devil. And last but not least, he played the lead in the Matrix trilogy from 1999 to 2003, which contains many mockeries of Christology, the Trinity, and other Christian dogmas, and implies that the entire world is a computer-simulated illusion, promoting Neoplatonic, Kabbalistic, Gnostic, and Manichaean doctrines. The brothers who created the films have also become transgendered pseudo-women, and now claim that the entire story was written as an allegory for a sodomite transitioning from one gender to the other. Keanu Reeves' character Neo is obviously...
Dude, you are... Okay, so you're called the Giga Chat of NPCs. You are like the biggest NPC in my chat right now. This video on why the diamonds have retarded interpretations of scripture. Actually, it doesn't talk about the post-Vatican II anti-church, does it? Does it? Does it? Yeah, I'm banning you.
Obviously a mockery of Christ, who even undergoes a death and resurrection event, after which he obtains special powers above nature. And with regard to their judgment that no Catholic should watch Back to the Future because it has a time-traveling car, the literary device of time travel has been in fashion for quite a long time, for at least the last 200 years, and I have never seen any official Catholic condemnation or prohibition against works of literature that depict time travel, not in general or even in specific cases. The Motion Picture Production Code from the 1930s, largely influenced by Roman Catholics, forbids all sorts of things from nudity, indecency, obscenity, sexual activity.
Wait. Okay, somebody said the two witnesses are living in a trailer in upstate New York. You just don't get it. That's actually wrong. Did you see they own like 90 acres of pristine upstate New York land? Did you see their recent video where they go over their things? They say they have a Eucharistic miracle too. Good band. Heart. Yeah. He can cry. He can go and rumble and cry about it. Yeah, that's my containment chamber for all you monkeys.
Suggestive dances, overly detailed depictions of criminal activity, sympathy for criminals, confusing good and evil, and ridiculing any religion, nation, or creed, disrespecting the flag, etc. But it does not forbid science fiction or fantasy elements. It's also important to note in this regard that the 10 rules drawn up from the Council of Trent on prohibited literature makes an exception for lascivious books by heathens that are written in an eloquent style and considered classics, provided they are not used for instructing boys. Pope Leo XIII's 1897 Apostolic Constitution, Officiorum ac Numerum, updated this allowance to include even modern classics. I think it's safe to assume that if not even lewd, lascivious, and obscene books are altogether forbidden to Catholics if they're well written and considered classics, then a movie considered a classic that involves a time-traveling car isn't altogether forbidden either, at least on that account. Finally, St. Paul himself in the New Testament quotes pagan poets. He calls the Cretan Epimenides a prophet, and he quotes from a hymn to Zeus by Aratus. The time they claim fallen is Babylon the Great is code for lightning striking St. Peter's Basilica.
Since lightning at St. Peter's Basilica would have been too obvious, the angel in Revelation 18:2 used the scriptural codename Babylon in place of St. Peter's Church in Rome.
So true.
And the scriptural designation fallen for what appears as lightning.
Dude, that's so funny. That's so funny. Babylon equals. I could honestly. No, I'm not going to do it. I was going to pick up the Bible, go to Revelation, say, what can I do? But that's profanation. That's profanation. So we don't want to do that, right? Sedevacantism is the future, exclamation point. The future of what? There is no future. Okay, Diamond Bro positional VeggieTales, question mark. Do they have one? Okay, let me look this up. Okay, Most Holy Family Monastery, Fillmore, New York. VaticanCatholic.com. Okay. Let me do. I'm waiting for my Diamond Exposed video. Okay. Let me look through their website, VeggieTales. Okay. They've never mentioned VeggieTales. Who's the guy that started VeggieTales? Who's like the writer of VeggieTales? Okay, let me see. Oh, is it the Mike Vitscher guy that I'm thinking of, or is it the other one? One of them is like very much connected with it. He might just list the person who started it because they're weird. Okay, whatever. Let me try to doing some serious research for you guys right now. Trust the plan. Nope, not that guy. Okay, let me look at the other guy. Mike, now Rocky. Okay. Nope, nothing. What about Wagner? Nope, Rob Wagner and Joseph Wagner. Game over. Okay, let's continue. Oh, wait, more super chats. Oops, got to answer the supers. Okay. How do you think a decentralized Catholic Church would act/function? Would it be similar to how the EO Church works? What do you mean a decentralized Catholic Church? Like how would if you meant let's say per impossibile there was no pope. Like how would the church function? I don't know. It's like asking am I getting punked with like what if you did not eat breakfast this morning type question? What if the Catholic Church was started without the Pope? It would probably function if there was no divine right papacy, we would have a ecclesiastical law papacy. Like that's what we would do. Like we would elect a pope and just say, okay, this is not by divine right, this is by ecclesiastical law. If you talk like tomatoes, if you like to talk to tomatoes, clearly a reference to witchcraft. So real.
The time they claimed that the 7 heads of the end times beast of the apocalypse started with Pope Pius XI. The time before that, when they claimed that the 7 heads of the end times beast of the apocalypse started with Pope Benedict XV.
The 7 heads or emperors of the beast are therefore: number 1, Benedict XV.
The time they claimed Russian politician Vladimir Zhirinovsky was Gog from Ezekiel 38, who's going to start a nuclear World War III.
Wait, what? Oh yeah, this thing's really funny. The random Russian guy is Gog from Ezekiel 38. Wait, baptize a baby at home? Baptize baby. Okay. Infant baptism. Okay, let me see. Okay, baptism of desire. Okay, bro. Just a bunch of brain dead stuff. Which one is this? Infant baptism. Yeah, I can't find anything. Okay, what if it's under like baptize your baby? Nope, can't find anything on infant baptism.
Сейчас идет время Я не имею права, это делает ЦИК. Черная грязь! Отвратительная баба! Блядь, последний!
So what does it mention? And if you look at Ezekiel 3, it mentions this Gog, this
yeah, you're funny. You're so funny.
Russia, leading invasion with a coalition of nations. They mention Ezekiel 38:5 in the latter days and end times. It mentions latter days and end times. Ezekiel 38:8.
You have dyslexia. You might read
that will happen. Okay, so it's now. Now there's a person that does fit all this stuff, and his name's Vladimir.
Shut up. Wait, Stevie Immaculata, I love you.
Own autobiography.
I'm telling you to shut up, but
the last dash to the south.
Символом России всегда была русская тройка удалая с бубенцами. А сейчас вы во что превратились? Вот это паршивый маленький ослик, символ нашей страны. Если я стану президентом, у нас вновь появится удалая тройка. Шел! Еле двигается, идти не может. На месте стоит вся страна. Шел! Опа! Шел!
Жириновский. И будет лучше.
The time they claimed John Paul II and Paul VI were collectively the Antichrist.
According to the Apocalypse, Paul VI and John Paul II are the Antichrist.
Bro, I guess John Paul I. They just like skipped them over. Guess they skipped them over John Paul I. That's so funny.
That time they claimed Paul VI and John Paul II were the only two people in history who had kissed the
Dude, this one is so funny. This one's so funny. Oh man. John Paul II and Paul, like, listen to them. Listen to this very carefully. This is actually what they claim. They say that St. John Paul II and St. Paul VI are the only two people ever to kiss the earth, ever. It's so funny. Okay, listen to this.
earth, and that it was a satanic practice.
As Catholics fall down to their knees to adore the Blessed Sacrament, Satanists fall down on their knees to adore the earth, the habitation of man, and the domain of Satan. In contrast with Christ, who did not fall down to adore Satan, Antichrist demonstrates how he does adore Satan by kissing the earth which represents him. And as a result of that adoration, Satan delivers his power to Paul VI and John Paul II. As far as we know, Paul VI and John Paul II are the only two persons in history that have kissed the earth.
Like the only two persons in history to have kissed the earth. This is so funny. This is so amazing. I love this so much.
In fact, kissing the earth is an ancient ritual among travelers. It occurs at least twice in Homer's Odyssey, the oldest and most famous work of fiction. And it's not just a heathen or pagan custom. The Crusaders, upon seeing Jerusalem, and before laying siege to it and shouting Deus Vult, bowed down and kissed the earth. Christopher Columbus and his men kissed the earth upon landing in the New World. Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, after abdicating his throne and returning to Spain, kissed the ground and said, "Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither." A traditional practice of kissing the ground is described in the Old Catholic Encyclopedia article on Palm Sunday. St. Francis Xavier kissed the ground. St. Junipero Serra, in his diary, after saying Mass and upon hearing that pagans were approaching him, praised God and kissed the ground in thanksgiving. St. Teresa of Lisieux kissed the ground. St. Bernadette Soubirous, at Our Lady's request, kissed the ground. The legend of a brother Alphys describes him kissing the ground before dying. In 1983,
This is so amazing. This is just prime. But okay, so somebody has an update on the craziness. Okay, with the baptizing your baby in the sink thing. Okay, let me where was it? There was more craziness. I can't find it right now. Wagner equals John 3:5 mocker. Okay. Whatever. Not my fault you don't know the difference between broad and narrow necessity of means. Okay. Oh, here it is. In their instructions on how to become a traditional Catholic, they tell people to baptize themselves or have a friend do it. A baptism of yourself is, if I'm remembering correctly, invalid. I think I've read about this before. Okay, so let's go to Vatican Catholic. Let's figure out if this is true. Okay, I don't want to be spreading misinformation online. I would never do that. Okay, their website design goes crazy, though. Look at this website design. It goes crazy. You'd think with all that money they stole from that old guy that they would have hired a better website designer, you know? Okay, let me see. How to become traditional Catholic. Oh! Need to plug in my computer. It's going to die. That'd have been so tragic. Okay. Help save souls. Donate. Where can I donate? Wow, this is $1,000 donation, $1,000 monthly donation. Okay. Where can I find it? Oh my gosh, this is such a difficult website to. They have it in like Vietnamese and Chinese. What the? That's crazy. Okay, Benedict XVI heresies. What's wrong with you? This is their many other topics. Catholic Inquisition myths busted. Benedict XVI's heresies by book. Benedict XVI's heresies archive. Canonizations are infallible. Mary is not co-redemptrix. What's wrong with yoga? Islam is a false religion. Spirituality. Trapeo. UFOs. Okay, here we go. Steps to convert. Steps to convert. I love the UFOs on their spirituality. Okay, baptism. Okay, baptize. Okay, the form of Catholic baptism, conditional Catholic baptism with explanation. Okay, if you haven't read. Okay, so buy a catechism for $5. That's the first step to converting. Okay, hold the beliefs and everything. Okay, after you know the basic catechism and want to receive baptism, there's no reason to delay this. You've completed steps 1 and 2. Normally, this would be done by a Catholic priest at your local Catholic church. Since we were in the Great Apostasy, and there are almost 0 fully traditional Catholic priests around, a layperson is probably the one who should do it for you. The Catholic of Florence, the Council of Florence, see below, declare that anyone can validly administer baptism. Thus, if you have a strong Catholic friend, or in case you don't, if you have a non-Catholic family member or friend who could perform baptism reliably with the proper intention, then that person can administer baptism for you using the form given below. Confession is not necessary for a person who has never received baptism, since baptism removes original sin and all actual sins. After baptism, however, one should get into the habit of going to confession to a traditional priest ordained in the traditional rite of ordination at least once a month. And one must go if he or she commits a mortal sin after baptism, which hopefully will not occur. Concerning where to go to confession, take note of the points below. Okay, for those who have received, it is different. Okay, go to the Eastern Rite thing. Okay, I don't see anything about baptizing himself. Okay. How to perform a conditional baptism. Oh my goodness. Okay, we have to go through this. We gotta be fair to him. We gotta go through this. Okay. Read my message below. It's invalid, ironically. Concerning a Jew who tried to baptize himself, Innocent III said that his baptism was invalid, but he certainly had baptism of desire. But actually, Innocent III was a modernist. Baptism of desire, he was a modernist. Yeah, I thought I remember reading about this. Okay, I was just triple checking. Okay, guys, donating all my money to Most Holy Family Monastery instead of Wagner. If you want to direct donate, go to christianbwagner.com/donate. Okay. To answer the poll, I think Peter is more based than Francis. Sadly, church has become too TO modern. Minimization of TLM, confusion, LGBTQ friendly. Crazy. That's so crazy. Okay, auto baptism. We need to see whether he recommends it. Okay. But yeah, that was actually a forgery because it talks about baptism of desire. We know none of the popes ever believed in baptism of desire, okay? We generally recommend a conditional baptism for people leaving the Vatican II, quote, church or coming from Protestantism. After your conditional baptism, make a general confession. Okay. Or a lay minister. I need to know where to go to mass or confession. Do they have a examination of conscience? I need to see this. Okay, lay minister dressed immodestly. Okay. The quote priests ordained in the new rite of ordination are invalid. So why don't they say the quote priests quote ordained in the new quote rite of quote ordination are invalid? So any mortal sins confessed to such quote priests any mortal sins quote confessed to such quote priests must be confessed again to a valid priest. This must be done before receiving communion at the traditional mass. Those leaving the quote new mass and adherence to the quote Vatican II false quote church should also make the same profession of faith from the Council of Trent. Here's the form. If there's any validity, the if you can have. Okay, no, he says to your own children. Since there are barely any true Catholic priests in the whole country, you can have a Catholic friend perform a conditional baptism. You can administer baptism to your own children. Okay. Pour the water 3 times. Pour on the cross. Okay. Wait, reject NFP? Wait, they're against NFP? I didn't know this. I didn't know this. The NFP has been supported by the Holy Office since at least the 1880s. See, they just make stuff up. They just literally just make stuff up. Yeah, the rejection, NFP back to the 80s, condemnation of Fenianism was in the 50s. And baptism of desire has been scattered in magisterial statements and among all the theologians forever. I mean, they literally just make stuff up. Okay, but I'm sure they have some cope about this. Okay, I need to look into there. So there's no auto baptism. That was fake news. I'm about to ban that guy. Okay, let me look Vatican Catholic NFP. I didn't know about this. What is their cope about this? NFP. Natural family planning is sinful birth control. Natural family planning, because it deliberately subordinates the primary purpose of the Marriage Act, procreation of children, to other things. That's forbidden. Okay. NFPA birth control deception. Okay, here we go. What are the infallible statements that refute NFP? Okay, so they agree that it's okay. The infallible statements. I think it's they agree that NFP was taught before Vatican II. They just think that it's refuted by infallible statements. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, why does he quote Saint Caesar of Arles rather than Saint Caesarius? That's really weird. Yeah, the same like 3 quotes from Pius XI. Yeah, obviously the act of marriage exercised for pleasure alone is entirely free from all fault and venial defect. That was condemned by Innocent XI. Of course, nobody disagrees with that. Let me see. Okay, they never bring up. Do they ever bring up? Was it under Leo the 13th? Yeah, it was under Leo the 13th. Leo the 13th, anti-pope. Okay, no, I'm just joking. Okay, let me see. Does he ever natural family plan? Does he ever bring up Leo the 13th? No. Okay, so he just brings up the same like 3 quotes from Pius XI. Okay, I guess he just is schizo. Anyways, let's continue the showing more reasons why they're schizo. Okay, shine on you, crazy diamonds. There we go.
Very thankful evacuees
This was in the middle of the whole "those were the only 2 who's ever kissed the ground" thing.
from Grenada were pictured kissing the ground upon landing on U.S. soil. In fact, I've collected 80 pages of documented instances of people other than John Paul II and Paul VI kissing the ground or the earth, disproving Diamond's claim that, oh crap, this video is supposed to be about their interpretation of 2 Thessalonians 2. I'm sorry, I got carried away. Back to the Diamondite claim that the Antichrist would not forbid idolatry because, quote, hell is not divided against itself. Anyone with a cursory knowledge of comparative religion, history, the Bible, etc., should be able to refute it.
No.
The case of radical Islamic iconoclasm. For example, and within living memory for many of us, radical Islamic sects have destroyed various idols of other religions.
This morning, ISIS claims to have destroyed priceless pieces of history. A video posted yesterday shows people taking power tools and sledge.
Okay, of course people use NFP not to fulfill the goal of the marital act. Of course, that's obvious. Yeah, obviously, people misuse things all the time, and people misuse things all the time. Okay.
Hammers to irreplaceable statues and artifacts in Iraq. One piece may date back all the way to 700 BC.
I don't know whether to say based or not, so I'll just keep quiet.
A religious spokesman for the group condemned the treasures as sacrilegious. These idols and pagans for people in the past centuries were worshipped instead of Allah, he said. When Allah ordered to destroy and remove them, it was an easy matter. We don't care, even if it costs billions of dollars. Here, a militant at an archaeological site is seen destroying an ancient winged bull, a symbol of an Assyrian deity.
One of the most notorious recent examples was the 2001 demolition of the 2 gigantic Buddhas of Bamiyan in Afghanistan by the Islamic Taliban.
As a group of Taliban leaders watch from a nearby hillside, the statues are reduced to rubble, and the detonation fills the valley with a cloud of dust.
Yes, of course. Yes, okay. This is such a bait. Okay. This is the poll. This is the poll. Okay, let me put it up. Let me put it up. Start a poll. Was this based? You guys better answer yes. You guys better answer yes. It's better win. I'll be so mad at you guys if you say no. Okay. Oh, they're priceless artifacts. Oh, what? Oh, they're priceless artifacts, Wagner. Oh, like, oh, my priceless artifacts. Like, okay, they're based. Like, let's be real.
All that remains today of the Bamiyan Buddhas are vacant niches in the mountainside.
Now, the diamonds hold both Buddhism and Islam to be pagan and diabolical sects of the devil.
Paul VI on Buddhism. Buddhism is a false
Oh, King Josiah, stop cutting down the high places. Stop destroying the idols, King Josiah. King Josiah, please stop doing it. Stop doing it. Those are going to be historical artifacts one day. Please stop.
pagan religion of the East, which believes in reincarnation and karma. Buddhists hold that life is not worth living, and that every form of conscious existence is an evil. Buddhists worship various false gods. Buddhism is a disgusting, idolatrous, and false religion of the devil.
In his public vow, dated approximately 1455, he said this, quote, I vow to exalt the true faith and to extirpate the diabolical sect of the reprobate and faithless Muhammad in the East, end quote. So, according to Pope Calixtus III, Islam is a diabolical sect. The word diabolical means of the devil. It comes from diabolus, the Latin word for devil. So it's not a good religion, it's an evil religion.
So we see that two religious sects can be of the devil and against each other's idols. And of course, anyone who has studied or even just scanned the Wikipedia articles on the history of Muhammad and Islam should know that the religion was, in its essence and genesis, a rebellion against many prior forms of Arab idolatry. Muhammad famously destroyed many idols at Mecca after his conversion, hence the Islamic profession of faith, La ilaha illa Allah, no God but Allah. Here is an artistic depiction of Muhammad destroying the idols of Mecca from Wikipedia.
Real for that.
So what does this mean? What are we to take away? Are Muhammad and the Islamic faith rending hell asunder? Are they warriors for the kingdom of heaven? Or is the real world more nuanced than the retarded one in which the diamonds want to entrap your mind? The answer is yes, the real world is more nuanced than the retarded, either-or, Manichaean, black and white, light switch brain world of the diamonds. Yes, the devil inspired false religions. Yes, the devil also inspired Muhammad to destroy idols of false religions and found another false religion. The case of Nabucodonosor in the Holy Bible. There's also an episode in sacred scripture where a powerful man who persecutes and enslaves the people of God and serves as a type of Antichrist makes a law that all other gods are to be destroyed and he alone is to be worshipped. And this is from Judith 3, verse 13. For Nabucodonosor the king had commanded him to destroy all the gods of the earth, that he only might be called God by those nations which could be brought under him by the power of Holofernes. Later on, Holofernes, the fierce general of Nabucodonosor, vows to destroy all the Jews for their resistance, to prove to them that there is no God but Nabucodonosor. And this is from Judith 6, 1-4. And it came to pass when they had left off speaking, that Holofernes, being in a violent passion, said to Achior, because thou hast prophesied unto us, saying that the nation of Israel is defended by their God, to show thee that there is no God but Nabucodonosor, when we shall slay them all as one man, then thou also shalt die with them by the sword of the Assyrians, and all Israel shall perish with thee. And thou shalt find that Nabucodonosor is Lord of the whole earth, And then the sword of my soldiers shall pass through thy sides, and thou shalt be stabbed and fall among the wounded of Israel.
Shut
and
up.
thou shalt breathe no more till thou be destroyed with them. The case of the Assyrian king Sennacherib in the Holy Bible. While on a military...
Okay, stop spamming. Yeah, we all love Miser Eckhart. Yeah, we know. Just stop spamming my chat with, guys, I love Miser Eckhart, guys. I really love Miser Eckhart. Okay, that's fantastic. You know you should read? Oh, wait, no, it's on my nightstand. Read St. John of the Cross, okay? St. John of the Cross. He's the mystical doctor of the church. He talks all about clean, concise, systematic, okay? Read St. John of the Cross.
Military expedition in the region, the Assyrian king Sennacherib sent men to Jerusalem to deliver a message boasting of his power to conquer all the gods of the land, presuming also to be able to conquer the God of Israel. And this is from 2 Chronicles 32. Thus saith Sennacherib, king of the Assyrians, in whom do you trust that you sit still besieged in Jerusalem? Doth not Ezekias deceive you, to give you up to die by hunger and thirst, affirming that the Lord your God shall deliver you from the hand of the king of the Assyrians? Is it not this same Ezekias that hath destroyed his high places and his altars, and commanded Judah and Jerusalem, saying, you shall worship before one altar, and upon it you shall burn incense? Know you not what I and my fathers have done to all the people of the lands? Have the gods of any nation and land been able to deliver their country out of my hand? Who is there among all the gods of the nations, which my fathers have destroyed, that could deliver his people out of my hand, that your God should be able to deliver you out of this hand? Therefore let not Ezekias deceive you, nor delude you with a vain persuasion, and do not believe him. For if no God of all the nations and kingdoms could deliver his people out of my hand and out of the hand of my fathers, consequently neither shall your God be able to deliver you out of my hand. And many other things did his servants speak against the Lord God and against Ezekias his servant. And he wrote also letters full of blasphemy against the Lord, the God of Israel, and he spoke against him. As the gods of other nations could not deliver their people out of my hand, so neither can the God of Ezekias deliver his people out of my hand. Moreover, he cried out with a loud voice, in the Jews' tongue, to the people that sat on the walls of Jerusalem, that he might frighten them and take the city. And he spoke against the God of Jerusalem, as against the gods of the people of the earth, the works of the hands of men. And Ezekias the king, and Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos, prayed against this blasphemy and cried out to heaven. The case of the plot against Daniel by the governors of King Darius in the Holy Bible. In the book of...
Okay, so you're confused on what's going on. Basically, the diamonds interpret a text from 2 Thessalonians weirdly, and their argument is, oh, Satan can never oppose Satan, so like the Antichrist is not going to tear down tear down idols and make himself God. And he's just going through all of the examples of people who are influenced by Satan tearing down idols. That's basically just showing how dumb their exegesis of a specific verse is. Wagner, you and Voice of Reason are easily my favorite Catholic content creators, but he beats you in having a deep Chad voice. Okay, well, I don't know how chill Voice of Reason is, but I was gonna make a really bad joke. Okay, I don't want to make the guy mad. Don't want to make the guy mad. I don't know how chill he is, so I don't want to joke about things he'd get mad at. He did post Cole one time, and I had to respond to him, but ever since, we haven't traded any shots. I don't know. I'm fine with the guy. It's whatever. Hopefully, he can't hold any grudges. Those are always really annoying. That's essentially why Lofton gets trolled all the time, because he always holds grudges.
Of Daniel, a cabal of jealous princes and governors draft an executive order temporarily forbidding all prayer and sacrifice to any god or idol on pain of being fed to lions, and convince King Darius to issue it, knowing that they will be able to catch Daniel in noncompliance and thus make him into lion lunch. This is from Daniel 6, 5-9. Then these men said, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, unless perhaps concerning the law of his God. Then the princes and the governors craftily suggested to the king and spoke to him thus, King Darius, live forever. All the princes of the kingdom...
Okay, there's actually a reading order of St. John of the Cross's works. So Ascent of Mount Carmel, book 1 goes over what's called the passive night of the soul. Am I mixing it up? No, it's Ascent Book 1, and that's the Active Night of the Soul. Sorry, Active Night of the of the senses. Active Night of the senses. Sorry. And then so that's Ascent of Mount Carmel, and then Dark Night of the Soul that goes over the passive night of sense, which happens after the active night of sense, and that's the second one you read. And then I can't remember which one has 3 books and which one has 2 books, but after that is Ascent of Mount Carmel books 2 and 3, and that is the active night of spirit. So there's the active night of sense, passive night of sense, active night of spirit, and then passive night of the spirit. And then the passive night of spirit is going to be book 2 of the Dark Night of the Soul. And then after that, the his living flame of love is meant to be about the mystical union, which happens after the twofold 2 nights. So yeah, there's actually like a reading order of his works. You're not supposed to just plow through and like read whatever, whatever fancies you. Okay, let's continue.
The magistrates, the governors, the senators, and judges have consulted together that an imperial decree and an edict be published, that whosoever shall ask any petition of any god or man for 30 days, but of thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions. Now therefore, O king, confirm this sentence, and sign the decree, that what was decreed by the Medes
Only
and
76
Persians may
likes.
not be altered, nor any man be allowed to transgress it. So King Darius set forth the decree and established it. The case of Daniel's prophecy concerning the Antichrist in the Holy Bible. This is from Daniel 11, 36 to 37. And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall be lifted up, and shall magnify himself against every god. And he shall speak great things against the God of gods, and shall prosper, till the wrath be accomplished, for the determination is made. And he shall make no account of the God of his fathers, and he shall follow the lust of women. And he shall not regard any gods, for he shall rise up against all things. Now, in before Adamani pulls up Daniel 11:38, it is true that in the next verses, Daniel speaks of the Antichrist worshiping the god Maozim. However, there are annotations in many Catholic Bibles interpreting Maozim as strength or the god of strength, and the great saint.
Yeah, this is okay. Wait. Why can't? Oh my gosh, I have like 10 tabs open. Yeah, well, this is just it's necessary for every Christian. I mean, this is the universal call to holiness. The mystical life is necessary for every Christian. Thoughts on the shutdown of Internet Archive? I'm praying imprecatory psalms against whoever decided to get it shut down.
Robert Bellarmine argues in his book on Antichrist that, in his opinion, this means the Antichrist will secretly and privately worship the devil himself in a hidden place, which we know from our Lord's temptation in the desert is a condition to receiving the devil's offer of power or strength to rule the world, while publicly Antichrist will pretend to be the one God. Otherwise, the prophet Daniel will be caught in a blatant and immediate contradiction. St. Robert Bellarmine, Antichrist, the controversy.
Oh, you're asking about a good work on mental prayer? Well, this is a perfect moment. This is a perfect moment. Okay? You guys ready for something new? I forgot that I did this until now. You guys ready for something new? Guys ready for something new? Okay, get ready. Boom.
Pope Benedict XVI said that mental prayer is an ordinary means that enables the disciple of Jesus to live in intimacy with the divine teacher. Yet, how does one engage in mental prayer? One of the greatest masters of the spiritual life was St. Ignatius of Loyola. In the 19th century, a certain Jesuit priest decided to write a complete guide to mental prayer, patterned on the works of St. Ignatius. Check out this work on Amazon, completely typeset under the title A Brief Guide to Mental Prayer According to the Mind of St. Ignatius.
Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, actually, this is based. Yeah. So that's the book. That's the book that I recommend. Yeah. This is actually Wagner Schilling. Okay, you got me. You got me. But no, I have two others. Maybe I'll show you guys them later. I would buy it, but I'm poor. Yeah, I need the other version was on Internet Archive. I had the Internet Archive link. Did I send a Google's book? Maybe I'll send the Google book link to the chat if I can find it. Let me see. I think I sent one to River Run, but I can't find it. We messaged a bunch. Nah, I'll keep playing the video. I'll find it eventually. Oh, what the frick? Okay, here we go.
Verses chapter 14. The second response, which I prefer, is that Antichrist is going to be a magician, and by the custom of other magicians, he will worship the devil secretly, by whose work he will do wonders. He will call this one whom he is going to adore Mauzim. Hence, for Mauzim, we do not think the name of a god, but of a certain strong and secret place in which there will be special treasures of Antichrist, and in which, as we said, he will worship the devil himself. Moreover, it must necessarily be said that Antichrist is himself the god Mauzim, or if he is someone else, Antichrist must worship him only in a very secret place, secret from all others. The very words of Daniel compel us that otherwise they would oppose themselves. If he will not worship no god, how will he openly worship an idol? The case of Brother Peter Diamond's own mouth. Brother Peter Diamond is also refuted by his own mouth. Last year on June 30th, 2018, he published a video claiming that many devils were exorcised from the White House with the election of Donald Trump, but not all.
Furthermore, people need to understand that what we're seeing from the left right now, and since Trump took office, are the effects of a public exorcism. That's right, we are seeing the effects of a public exorcism. Now, we are not saying that we agree with everything Trump does, we don't, or that some devils don't remain in the White House, they do. However, many devils, probably multitudes, were displaced from the White House and associated agencies of power with the departure of Obama's administration and the entrance of Trump's more conservative administration. That's why wicked and demonic liberals, or more precisely, the devils in them, reacted to Trump's inauguration like this.
Honor to be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th president of
In our view, that was a real example of an outburst from a devil who is furious that many devils have been displaced from the White House and associated agencies with Obama's departure.
The devils that were exorcised, in his words, from the White House by the 2016 election are—
Dude, Donald Trump committed a mass exorcism of America. It's so based. Thank you, Peter Diamond.
Are very upset and fomenting civil disorder because they want to get back into the White House. But he also admits that there are still devils in the White House, just fewer and presumably less nasty ones. So if the legions of hell enjoy such a simplistic solidarity so as to never at any point for any reason allow evil men to forbid idolatry, not even the Antichrist, then why are so many of them outside the White House in such a rage when others still infest the White House? And if there are devils in the White House and devils outside the White House begging to be let back in, why don't the devils in the White House let the ones outside back in? There are very many questions.
My name is Jared Kushner.
Classic. So real.
Idolatry is a means to an end for the devil. The answer to this desperate cope of Peter Diamond's is that idolatry is a means to an end, not an end in itself for the devil. His goal is to divorce all mankind from God and damn as many souls to hell as possible. Idolatry has been a favorite device of his from almost the beginning. The Hebrews barely escaped Egypt before they fell multiple times in the desert to different forms of idolatry. After formalizing and establishing the Jewish religion in its temple in Jerusalem, Solomon fell into idolatry. Idolatry weakens a nation and divorces men from the blessings of God. But that doesn't mean that the devil won't move on to something else after accomplishing this, in much the same way that masterminds of revolutions quickly dispense with the rabble they used to instigate the revolution in the first place. The purported KGB defector Yuri Bezmenov discusses the normalization stage of the communist overthrow of a target nation when revolutionary forces, including sleeper agents, anarchists, traitors, homosexuals, etc., are eliminated once the new rulers are in place. I think this can be likened to what the devil will do with idolatry once Antichrist is in power.
The result is the same. The next stage is normalization. Normalization is a very ironic word, of course. It is borrowed from 1968 situation in Czechoslovakia, when the Soviet propaganda and after them New York Times declared the country is normalized. The tanks moved into Prague, so there is no more Prague Spring, there is no more violence. Normalization. At that stage, the self-appointed rulers of the society don't need any revolution anymore. They don't need any radicalism anymore. So this is the reverse from destabilization. Basically, it is stabilizing the country by force. So all the sleepers and activists and social workers and liberals and homosexuals and professors and Marxists and Leninists are being eliminated. Physically sometimes. They've done their job already. Okay? They are not needed anymore.
Traditional Catholic teaching refutes Peter Diamond's retarded eisegesis and affirms that Antichrist will forbid idolatry. It's quite interesting that Peter Diamond doesn't cite a single pope, saint, theologian, or father to bolster his claim about the proper way to interpret 2 Thessalonians 2. Big think emoji, anyone? He also fails to mention that the Council of Trent forbids anyone to interpret the scriptures contrary to how the Church and the Fathers have interpreted the scriptures. Council of Trent, Session 4, Second Decree. Furthermore, in order to restrain petulant spirits, it decrees that no one, relying on his own skill, shall in matters of faith and of morals pertaining to the edification of Christian doctrine, wresting the sacred scripture to his own senses, presume to interpret the said scripture contrary to that sense which Holy Mother Church, whose it is to judge of the true sense and interpretation of the Holy Scriptures, hath held and doth hold, or even contrary to the unanimous consent of the Fathers. Here we will just consult our 2 most trustworthy armaments against the errors of the Daimonites, the original Douay-Rheims commentary and St. Robert Bellarmine. There is an annotation on 2 Thessalonians 2:4 in the original Douay-Rheims New Testament Bible, published in 1582. The side note says, Antichrist shall suffer no worship or adoration, but of himself only. The rest reads, the great Antichrist must come near the world's end, shall abolish the public exercise of all other religions, true and false, and pull down both the blessed sacrament of the altar, wherein consisteth specially the worship of the true God, and also all idols of the Gentiles, and sacrifices of the Jews, generally all kind of religious worship, saving that which must be done to himself alone, which was partly prefigured in such kings as published that no god nor man but themselves should be prayed unto for certain days, as Darius and such like. And then we have chapter 14 on the doctrine of Antichrist from St. Robert Bellarmine's book, Antichrist, De Controversies. The chapter starts off saying, on the doctrine of Antichrist, there is a great deal of controversy between us and the heretics. It is certain from scriptures, as well as from the testimony of our adversaries, that there are going to be 4 points of doctrine of the Antichrist. And the 4th point of doctrine that he lays out is, quote, he will not only say that he is God, but even that he alone is God, and will oppress all other gods, i.e. both the true God and false gods and all idols. Quote, who extols himself over everything which is called God or that is worshipped, end quote. And in Daniel, quote, he will not think God is his father, nor will he worship any of the gods, because he will rise against them all, end quote.
For why would the man of sin oppose the worship of false gods? Satan's kingdom is not divided. Satan organizes the worship of idols, and thus it would make sense that the man of sin would support idols and false gods.
In the end, it stands to reason that the devil will desire to put aside the things of a child once his global kingdom of darkness has matured, and consolidate all worship and focus all glory and honor on his chosen man, the Antichrist, and ultimately himself, in the most infernal imitation and mockery of God that is possible. Objection 3. Nothing was special about John Paul II being literally elevated a few feet above other religious leaders and idols for a moment at Assisi. Of course, by this retarded interpretation, anytime Donald Trump ascends to the top of Trump Tower, or someone climbs a mountain, or takes a flight in a helicopter, airplane, balloon, or rocket ship, they also find themselves, quote, opposing and, quote, lifted up above much that is, quote, called God, even more so than John Paul II ever was at Assisi. How many times and in how many ways have how many petty antichrists fulfilled this prophecy of St. Paul?
Oh my gosh, DN, are you like mentally challenged or something? Are you mentally challenged or something? He's saying that this is the universal teaching of the fathers, and he's using the Dewey Reams comments and Robert Bellarmine as representatives who are expressing the teaching of the fathers. Ironic, because Donald Trump is the Antichrist. He's not Jewish, so he can't be the Antichrist.
Objection 4. John Paul II and Assisi didn't actually qualify as a fulfillment of 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 4, even according to Diamond's risible interpretation. Even if we grant Peter Diamond the premise that 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 4 contained a prophecy pertaining to the literal relative spatial position of the Antichrist compared to other religious leaders and symbols at one particular interfaith event, John Paul II and the 1986 Assisi gathering would not qualify. Why? Well, John Paul II was not literally elevated above every other religious leader, idol, and representation of a deity, true or false, at Assisi. For example, there were religious artworks, crosses, and crucifixes on church steeples above John Paul II at Assisi. Look at this picture. There is a crucifix and an altar and a depiction of religious artwork over and above John Paul II and the seat where he was sitting. Notice that John Paul II is underneath an opposing symbol of Jesus Christ on a level with the other religious representatives. Also notice that this contemporary Chicago Tribune article describes an image of the Pietà somewhere in the vicinity as if it were looking down on Crow Chief John Pretty on top as he exorcised unclean spirits with his straw fan. The same article also notes that the Crow Indian chiefs that you see in all these videos actually claim to be Roman Catholics. They just keep their old Crow traditions alive. In addition to signs and symbols of the true faith, there were also false idols situated relatively above John Paul II, even when he temporarily reclined on his elevated platform at Assisi. Assisi, Italy has an elevation of 1,391 feet. The Yamunotri Temple in the Himalayan mountains has an elevation of 10,797 feet, and it houses a marble idol of the Hindu goddess Yamuna. Furthermore, and this really shouldn't even need to be pointed out, but we're dealing with the diamonds.
I'll try.
John Paul II is not the only man elevated above and against all the other religious representatives, even in the video the diamonds use as evidence of this fact. Upon closer inspection, we see that in this screenshot, there could easily be a dozen or more men sitting on a level with John Paul II above and across from the men praying on the platform below. And when you see the full context of Assisi, you realize that there are actually quite a bit more than a dozen religious representatives attending. They are seated on all 3 sides of the raised platform here. Another important fact to point out is that there is only one other religious leader at a time across from and below John Paul II. So he at no single point in time is above all of them at once. They take turns going down and talking in front of him and beneath him.
And when the various pagans and false worshippers got their chance to worship, they had to descend from the platform to a podium. They had to walk down various steps, descending from a higher spot to a lower spot, in order to reach the podium where they faced their so-called God and offered prayers and worship.
That means that John Paul II was located above, where the various unbelievers worshipped.
So for the majority of the time, he is sitting on a level with all the other religious representatives. To elaborate on this point, no one else, not even other critics and condemners of the 1986 Assisi gathering, noticed that John Paul II was seated above and across from every other religion. Generally speaking, if what someone is saying is true, they are...
Okay, are you regularly going to make anti-Most Holy Family Monastery content on Patreon? Probably not. Probably not. I don't know. I might review response videos, or maybe if they have a video that I know a lot about. But I wouldn't go out of my way and do a bunch of it. The only one I might be baptism of desire, like an entire baptism of desire video. I would consider doing that, but I would probably do that public, not Indigenous Peoples Day. Real. That's real. That's real. Indigenous Peoples Day. Anyways, so Wagner, some people were claiming that Wagner is a Jewish Ashkenazi name. I said it wasn't. A lot of people are saying it was. So chat, should I, this is gonna be the next poll. Should I crap. End poll. Okay. Should I get a DNA test like the ancestry.com or 23andMe or something like that? That's what I'm wondering. Should I do a chat? Should I do it? I don't know. I wonder how much it costs.
Are not going to be the only ones on the planet who notice it. In 1995, an old calendarist sect of Eastern Orthodox called the Old Calendar Orthodox Church of Greece Holy Synod in Resistance, for their third convocation for Orthodox awareness, produced a documentary exposing John Paul II, the Vatican, Eastern Orthodox ecumenists, and the 1986 Assisi Day of Prayer. After having watched this documentary, I would wager to guess that it was seen by a young Michael Diamond and inspired him to address many of the same issues from a different perspective. For our purposes here, I want to note that the Orthodox producers of this documentary do not complain that their holy patriarchs abased themselves before John Paul II, or that John Paul II exalted himself above them and everyone else at the event. No, their complaint is that the Orthodox patriarchs who attended put themselves on an equal plane with John Paul II, other Christian heretics, and other religions.
This was truly a great fall for the Orthodox ecumenists. They were put on an equal level with the whole spectrum of Christian heresies and with the non-Christian religions.
Why not?
$150? Our spotless orthodoxy was indescribably humiliated through these Orthodox ecumenists.
And for any Rokor, Moscow is my third Rome Orthobros watching right now, the MP also attended Assisi.
Unfortunately, there was also a place at this pan-religious meeting for the Orthodox ecumenists, who indeed played a decisive role in its realization. There were delegates from the Orthodox churches of Finland and Czechoslovakia, the Patriarchate of Bulgaria, the Patriarchate of Romania, Patriarchate of Georgia, Patriarchate of Moscow. Patriarchate of Antioch, and Archbishop Methodius of Thyatira, the representative of the Patriarchate of Constantinople.
Objection 5. Not every false religion or idol was represented at Assisi in 1986 for John Paul II to sit above and against.
That's true.
For example, as far as I am aware, none of these religions were represented. Odinists, Druids, the Church of Satan, the Temple of Set, Freemasonry, Theosophy, Scientology, Cosmotheism, Branch Davidians. Finally, neither Baal, Belphegor, Dagon, Moloch, Astaroth, Pazuzu, Pachamama, that hideous Venus fertility idol Simca Fisher has been using for years as her Avi, Osiris, or Quetzalcoatl were in attendance, and therefore John Paul II was not positionally reclining above and against these so-called gods in a literal sense. Objection 6. According to the Diamonds, the one holy Catholic Church was not represented at Assisi, and therefore John Paul II was not elevated, literally, positionally, above it. The Diamonds hold that such ecumenical and interfaith prayer events as we saw at the 1986 Assisi gathering constitute apostasy. They hold that anyone who commits an act of apostasy or heresy falls ipso facto out of the Catholic Church, forfeiting any office they held therein. Therefore, by their reasoning, it is logically impossible that any true Catholic of the one true religion was present at the 1986 Assisi gathering for John Paul II to sit above and against. Therefore, since we're reading 2 Thessalonians 2:4 in the most literal, retarded sense possible, we would have to conclude that John Paul II does not qualify as the Antichrist, since he was not literally sitting himself above and against any representative of the Catholic faith at Assisi, and the verse literally says all. Objection 7. John Paul II was not literally situated positionally above the one God at the 1986 Assisi gathering. Of all the things that are in a literal sense called God, or in a literal sense worshipped, the first and foremost exemplar is God. So, was John Paul II sitting, in a literal sense, over and against the one God? Of course not. No one can say that John Paul II sat opposing and lifted up above in a literal, spatial, positional sense to God the Father or God the Holy Spirit, in whom we live and move and have our being. God is a ubiquitous spirit. He is, as Hermes Trismegistus put it, like an infinite sphere whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. So no man can literally position himself above God, Brother Diamond. Objection 8. Most, if not all, of the religious leaders John Paul II was supposedly above and against at Assisi are not themselves worshipped or called God.
How can we answer yes or
Since
no?
we're reading the phrase, quote, who opposeth and is lifted up above all, in the most hyper-literal sense possible, we should be consistent and read the rest of the verse as literally, who opposeth and is lifted up above all that is called God or that is worshipped. Notice that A, it doesn't say everyone who represents a religion. It says all that is called God or that is worshipped. Are any of these nominal Christian leaders present at Assisi worshipped at all by anyone? Are any of them called God? What about the representatives of other religions? Were the Native Americans worshipped as God by anyone? Do the Jains, Hindus, Buddhists, and Muslims worship the man who represented them at Assisi? In most cases, the Buddhists and the Dalai Lama perhaps accepted. I venture to guess no. Objection 9. John Paul II was not sitting in a temple at Assisi. Again, since we are reading the first part of 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 4 in the most absurdly literal sense possible, we should continue reading the rest of the sentence in the same way. Doing this, we come to the phrase, quote, so that he sitteth in the temple of God. Notice that this phrase begins with, quote, so that. That is, it's logically connected to the first part of the sentence that Peter Diamond reads as a literal positional descriptor. In other words, following Diamond's lead, we should retranslate this verse as who sits positionally over and above various religious representatives at an interfaith prayer event so that he sitteth in the temple of God. That is, he should be sitting in the temple of God when he's positionally over and against the other religious leaders. But the 1986 Assisi event was held outdoors. Behold the man of sin sitting in the temple of God. Outdoors plaza, showing himself as if he were God. Just another religious leader on a par with everyone else. Objection 10. John Paul II didn't show himself as if he were God at Assisi. Finally, if we complete the reading of the entire verse of 2 Thessalonians 2:4 in Diamond's hyper-literal sense, we see that the Antichrist is going to, quote, show himself as if he were God, in the literal, not metaphorical sense, at the same event where he is over and above, in the literal, not metaphorical sense, every other so-called God. Did John Paul II present himself as God at the 1986 Assisi interfaith event? Well, he gave a speech there. The speech was recorded. The speech was published. We live in the internet era. We have Control F. Having thus prayed separately, we shall meditate in silence on our own responsibility to work for peace. We shall then declare symbolically our commitment to peace. At the end of the day, I shall try to express what this unique celebration will have said to my heart as a believer in Jesus Christ and the first servant of the Catholic Church. Address of John Paul II to the representatives of the Christian churches and ecclesial communities gathered in Assisi for the World Day of Prayer, Basilica St. Mary the Angels, 27 October 1986.
The Pope concluded this prayer to this supposed common father with the Our Father.
Oh, he said the Our Father and that he believed in Jesus Christ. That's not exactly what you'd expect to hear from the Antichrist at the very moment he's sitting in the temple of God, lifting himself up above all that is called God, showing himself as if he were God, Brother Diamond. The Diamond's literally retarded reading of 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 4 is not the only instance. For another quick example, and within their grand thesis that John Paul II was the Antichrist, they argue that 1 John 4, verses 3 to 4 describes literally the, quote, specific doctrine that the final Antichrist will preach when he appears, and that John Paul II taught the specific doctrine precisely.
The Antichrist defined 1 John chapter 4, verses 2 and 3. Every spirit which confesseth that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that dissolveth Jesus is not of God, and this is Antichrist. Thus, in defining Antichrist, sacred scripture refers to a specific attack on the truth about Jesus Christ, a specific attack on the truth about the God-man. Sacred scripture refers specifically to the dissolving of Jesus, 1 John 4, verses 2 and 3, and the denial that Jesus is the Christ, 1 John 2, verse 22. These two things serve as the distinguishing characteristic of the Antichrist according to sacred scripture.
They then point out that Nestorius, who taught that Jesus Christ was not one theandric person who had assumed a human nature into his divine eternal hypostasis.
Okay, I need to go grab more water for a second. Give me 1 second. Just 1 second, okay? Don't leave.
If you really enjoy this channel, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/militant Thomist. At the first level, you get access to the private Discord. At the second level, you get access to weekly bonus videos. At the third level, you get access to free translations, articles, and notes on the Summa of St. Thomas. On the fourth level, you get access to course videos and DM questions. And beyond this, there are many other benefits, so please make sure to check out patreon.com/militant Thomist. Do you want to have access to more videos and custom interaction whilst also helping out the channel? If so, please consider becoming a YouTube member. At the first level, for only $3 a month, get access to custom emojis to use in live streams and in the comment section. At the second level, for only $5 a month, get access to a weekly bonus stream. At the third level, for only $10 a month, get access to priority replies on all your comments. Click the join button below or the link in the description to find out more.
Hey, I'm back. Okay, yeah. You guys are crying so hard right now about this, aren't you? Yeah, cry about it. It was a good idea. What am I supposed to do? Play a Michael Lofton video like the old days while I go get water? You know, this is so much simpler, isn't it? Isn't it? Okay, let's continue.
But actually 2 persons, one human and one divine, was condemned for having divided Christ and taught this doctrine contrary to St. John. And they drag in Pope Pius XI to attempt to give credibility to the absurdities that are about to follow.
Pope Pius XI, encyclical, December 25th, 1931. All these no less than Nestorius attempt to dissolve Christ. Pope Pius XI here confirms that Nestorius's heresy was the specific doctrine of Antichrist. It was an attempt to dissolve the person of Jesus Christ, which is the mark of Antichrist according to sacred scripture.
So far, so good, but here's the twist. At this point, the Diamonds argue that the essence and mark of Antichrist doctrine has now been proven to be a literal multiplication of the number of persons or individuals one attributes to Jesus Christ, and not, as common sense and the teaching of theologians would indicate, a general assault on the essence of the dogmatic truth of the Incarnation and the hypostatic union.
But Nestorius rejected that our Lord Jesus Christ is one person. Nestorius blasphemously dissolved Jesus into two persons. Nestorius blasphemously held that the Son of God did not become man in the incarnation, but rather that the Son of God united himself in a certain way with a man named Jesus. I repeat, Nestorius did not hold that the Son of God became man in the incarnation, but rather that the Son of God united himself in a certain way with a man named Jesus. Does this sound familiar? And by holding that the Son of God did not become man, but rather united himself with a man named Jesus in the incarnation, Nestorius dissolved or divided our Lord Jesus Christ into two persons.
The Diamonds take this a step, or rather a few billion steps further, and make the case that John Paul II's level of Antichrist is 6 billion times worse than that of Nestorius. This is actually amazing to hear when you consider the way in which they upbraid and excoriate others for making exaggerated, rhetorical, and hyperbolic statements.
They commented on the video, so I know they saw the video, but they didn't accept the debate. Yep. So, yeah. I thought they had an open debate policy, guys. They had such an open debate policy. I told them I'd debate them any day. But, you know, guess not. Guess not, boys.
The argument hinges on numerous statements from John Paul II about the union of all mankind with God in the incarnation. These statements are almost always qualified with terms like in a certain way or in a certain sense.
Anti-Pope John Paul II, Redemptor Hominis, number 13. By his incarnation, he, the Son of God, in a certain way united himself with each man. Anti-Pope John Paul II, homily, July 2nd, 1986. The Son of God, incarnate in the womb of the Virgin Mary, has in a certain way united himself with each man. Anti-Pope John Paul II, homily, April 8th, 1987. By his incarnation, the Son of God has united himself in a certain way with each person. Anti-Pope John Paul II, letter to families, number 2. The Son of God, who in the incarnation united himself in some sense with every man.
But the Diamonds characteristically interpret his words in a narrow, unnuanced, literal sense and argue that John Paul II taught that Jesus Christ became incarnate in all individual human beings.
There is a crucial difference between the preliminary Antichrist, Nestorius, and the Antichrist, Anti-Pope John Paul II. The difference is that Anti-Pope John Paul II's preaching is 6 billion times worse.
6 billion? Come on, bro! Come on! Bro said 6 billion times worse. Bro, at this point, Diamond must have put money. Oy vey, brother Diamond. 6 billion times worse. Come on, could you stop doing that? Could you not? Could you not, Diamond? Could you not? I'm trying to keep this video up, okay? I would really enjoy it if I didn't get this video taken down. I would really enjoy it.
Nestorius dissolved Jesus into two, resulting in the worship of two Christs, while the Antichrist, Anti-Pope John Paul II, dissolves Jesus into 6.
It was 10 to the third powers times worse than the event from the 1940s, according to Peter Diamond.
Billion. 6 billion in Anti-Pope John Paul II dissolves Jesus into 6 billion. 6 billion into whom the Son of God has been dissolved in the incarnation, which results in the worship of 6 billion Christs.
Of course, we can't help but point out that if Nestorius taught
I don't know, man. 6 billion? It doesn't seem I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's continue.
Persons in Jesus Christ, and John Paul II taught that every living person on earth was Jesus Christ, you would actually have to divide the number of living people by 2 when describing it as a factor of Nestorius's error. Thus, given 6 billion people alive, John Paul II's teaching would technically only be 3 billion times worse than Nestorius.
True.
Though, of course, when you consider that there were only 4 billion people alive at the time of John Paul II's teaching in 1979, we would find this teaching to be only 2 billion times worse than Nestorius.
True.
So in the final analysis, Brother Diamond is exaggerating the gravity of John Paul II's supposed heresy by about 4 billion. As mentioned before, no one besides the Diamondites take the words of St. John to mean that the final Antichrist will literally dissolve Christ into multiple persons. In fact, he can't do this since he wants to substitute himself for Christ. If Antichrist were to convince the world that everyone was Christ, then Antichrist would, one might say, dissolve himself into humanity. He would become one Christ out of billions, and this would seem to be too humbling a doctrine for the, quote, man of sin who, quote, sits in the temple of God, showing himself as if he were God. In reality, St. John is just teaching that anything derogatory to the essential truth of the incarnation is of Antichrist. Cardinal Manning, for instance, around the time of the First Vatican Council, points out the rather obvious truth that Antichrist will have to deny the incarnation, since he is going to claim to be the Messiah of the Jews and be accepted by them and apostate Christians. Cardinal Manning, The Present Crisis of the Holy See, Lecture 2, Chapter 3. From this we perceive a third character of the Antichrist, namely that he will not be simply the antagonist, but the substitute or supplanter of the true Messiahs. And this is rendered still more probable by the fact that the Messiahs looked for by the
So
Jews
true.
has
Thank
always
you,
been a
brother.
temporal deliverer, the restorer of their temporal power, or in other words, a political and military prince. It is obvious also that whosoever may hereafter deceive them and the pretended character of their Messiahs must thereby deny the incarnation, whatsoever claim to a supernatural character he may put forward for himself. In his own person, he will be a complete denial of the whole Christian faith and church, for if he be the true Messiah, the Christ of the Christians must be false. He also explains what St. John means when he says, quote, every spirit that dissolveth Jesus. Cardinal Manning, The Present Crisis of the Holy See, Lecture 1. The third note is the denial of the incarnation. St. John writes, quote, every spirit which confesses that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that dissolveth Jesus, that is, by denying the mystery of the incarnation, either the true Godhead or the true manhood or the unity or divinity of the person of the incarnate Son, quote, is not of God, and this is Antichrist. He goes on to teach that all heretics are equally guilty of dissolving Christ. It's not just specifically what Nestorius did by multiplying the number of persons in Jesus. It is evident that St. Paul and St. John applied these terms to the Nicolaitans, the Gnostics, and the like. These three notes of Antichrist, schism, heresy, and the denial of the incarnation, were manifest in them. It is equally applicable to the Sabellian, Arian, Semi-Arian, Monophysite, Monothelite, Eutychian, and Macedonian heresies. The principles are identical, the development various, but only accidental. And so throughout these 1800 years, every successive heresy has generated schism, and every schism has generated heresy.
Okay. I know it's funny. Jokes are funny. Okay, ha ha ha. They're funny. If you want to make jokes like that, you have to go to Rumble. Okay, last warning, guys. Okay, ha 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 ha. They're funny.
And all alike deny the divine voice of the Holy Ghost speaking continuously through the church, and all alike substitute human opinion for divine faith, and all alike work out by a sure process, some more rapidly and some more slowly, a denial of the incarnation
really? Is
of
this
the
real?
eternal Son. And the original Reims New Testament annotation on 1 John 4, verse 3 teaches the same thing about what dissolveth means. To dissolve, loose, or separate Jesus asunder was proper to all those old heretics that taught either against his divinity or humanity or the unity of his person, being of two natures, as Cerinthus, Ebion, Nestorius, Eutyches, Manes, or Manichaeus, Surdon, Apelles, Apollinarius, and the like. To summarize, Antichrist is Antichrist precisely because he will call himself the Christ and call Christ the Antichrist. He will reverse and invert the truth. His claim to being the Christ is essential to his denomination as the Antichrist. Therefore, he will of necessity teach that Jesus of Nazareth was an impostor, who is not God made flesh, who did not fulfill all the old prophecies, and that he...
Okay, so this is actually real. I'm going into the Wikipedia page. Okay, so Michael Diamond was born Frederick Diamond. And then, okay, let me see. Then Peter Diamond. I don't know what Peter Diamond was born. Let me see. Nope, does not say what Peter Diamond was born as. Okay, let me see. Let me go back to the original comment. What was Peter Diamond's? Okay, Robert Diamond. Okay. I wonder if using Robert Diamond, it would be easy to, you know. Okay. Robert Diamond, plaintiff appellant. Interesting. Okay. Let's continue. Oh, wait. Wrong video.
He now is the actual incarnation of God. Compare this again to the Diamondite position, which can be summarized as follows. A. The Catholic Church teaches that in Jesus Christ there is one person. B. Nestorius was condemned as an Antichrist for teaching that in Jesus Christ there are two persons. C. Therefore, the final Antichrist, taking Nestorius' error and running wild with it, will teach that in Jesus Christ there is something around 6 billion persons. At first, it's hard to tell whether this strange teaching is a result of their inability to understand what they read in anything other than their own peculiar, literal way, or if it's part of another desperate and elaborate ploy to prove that John Paul II is the final Antichrist, to keep their followers in a state of agitation and apprehension, and to make them sound insane to outsiders, all tending towards their continued dependence upon the diamond cult. Perhaps this dilemma, as our Eastern Orthodox critics like to point out, does not have an either-or, but a both-and solution. From here, the Diamonds go on to argue that John Paul II's statements on the mystery of the Incarnation indicate that he believed each individual human being is Jesus Christ, which kills, as it were, with a single stone, two tricky birds for them, proving that John Paul II taught the doctrine of Antichrist as defined in 1 John 4:3, and proving that he showed himself as if he were God, as 2 Thessalonians 2:4 prophesies.
The fact that the Antichrist presently sits in St. Peter's Basilica should cause all Protestants to recognize that the Catholic churches are the temples of God, the true churches of Christ, which have been taken over by Antichrist and his counterfeit church in the last days. The Antichrist is sitting in the temple of God right now, showing himself as if he were God, by preaching that he and everyone else is God.
In context, to a neurotypical person lacking any agenda or other compromised influence, the various statements of John Paul II on the mystery of the Incarnation would seem to just imply that through the assumption of an individual human nature to the second person, every human being has a new relation or connection to God. In fact, it is taught that we are united in a certain way to God through Christ, the man, the mediator between the divine nature and our human persons. See, for instance, Thomas Aquinas' article on the Incarnation in Part 3 of the Summa Theologica. Summa Part 3, Question 26, Article 2. I answer that we may consider two things in a mediator. First, that he is a mean. Secondly, that he unites others. Now, it is of the nature of a mean to be distant from each extreme, while it unites by communicating to one that which belongs to the other. Now, neither of these can be applied to Christ as God, but only as man. For as God, he does not differ from the Father and the Holy Ghost in nature and power of dominion, nor have the Father and the Holy Ghost anything that the Son has not, so that he be able to communicate to others something belonging to the Father or the Holy Ghost, as though it were belonging to others than himself. But both can be applied to him as man, because as man he is distant from God by nature, and from man by dignity of both grace and glory. Again, it belongs to him as man to unite men to God by communicating to men both precepts and gifts, and by offering satisfaction.
Okay. Wait. I'm finding something, boys. Okay. Look at this right here. Okay. Because it does say that that the Diamond Brothers are converts to Catholicism, right? Right. You guys remember that? It says that they were not raised Catholic and only claimed to have converted to Catholicism, but they never mention what they converted from. You guys ever notice that? Isn't that quite interesting? Isn't that interesting? JP2 should be declared doctor of the church, in my humble opinion. So true. Yeah, they grew up agnostic. Okay, nobody grows up agnostic unless they're Jewish. I mean, yeah, let's be perfectly real here. I grew up agnostic is a thing that a Jewish person says. Okay. Yeah, I mean, okay, everybody knows it. See, you guys know this is true. Have you ever met a person in your life who said, I grew up agnostic or I grew up non-religious and they weren't Jewish? I mean, it's just a Jewish thing to do, okay? Yeah, everybody knows it. That's why it's funny. That's why it's funny because you guys all know it's true. I'm not getting banned here. I'm just spitting facts, okay? Okay, let me see. I'm trying to see if there's any other proof. Okay, nobody's bringing forth any other proof. But, I should directly ask him about it. Okay, they're all debating. Okay, so this is in 2020. Many people have heard it claimed They're Jewish converts. Okay. Doesn't look like there's anything else on this. Can we get like a court-ordered DNA test or something? I mean, how would we even do that? Do they, like, get a Coca-Cola can or something from the monastery, send it in for DNA testing? Like, how do we even figure this out? It's not like they're going to voluntarily give up the information after all these years. It's not like we could figure it out at all. Steal their DNA. This is a joke. Okay, YouTube, this is a joke. This is a joke. We're joking. We're joking. We're not actually planning on doing this, okay?
Satisfaction and prayers to God for men, and therefore he is most truly called mediator as man. Here we see the angelic doctor teaching us that Christ as man unites men to God by teachings, gifts, prayers, etc. Obviously, the union of men with God is of a certain type, but it is not exactly the hypostatic union
also
of the
come
second
from a
person
wealthy
and his
family?
human nature. And if it is an antichrist dissolving of Christ to teach that each person is united in some way to Christ through the assumption of human nature in the incarnation, then we would also have to fault Jesus Christ with teaching the doctrine of Antichrist and dissolving himself into other human beings, as absurd as it sounds. In the Acts of the Apostles, a story is told several times of Saul's conversion on the road to Damascus, when the Lord accuses Saul of persecuting the Lord, when Saul was actually persecuting individual Christians. Thus we see that our Lord himself, quote, dissolved himself into the members of the church. And oftentimes punishing men in every synagogue, I compelled them to blaspheme, and being yet more mad against them, I persecuted them even unto foreign cities. Whereupon, when I was going to Damascus with authority and permission of the chief priest, at midday, O king, I saw in the way a light from heaven above the brightness of the sun, shining round about me, and them that were in company with me. And when we were all fallen on the ground, I heard a voice speaking to me in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the goad. And I said, Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord answered, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. Acts of the Apostles 26:11-15. Jesus Christ had previously taught the same mysterious identification with other individual human beings in the Gospels when he taught that the good works done to the poor or neglected by men are done or neglected to our Lord himself. Matthew 25, verses 44-45. Then they shall answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see thee hungry, or thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister to thee? Then he shall answer them, saying, Amen, I say to you, as long as you did it not to one of these least, neither did you do it to me. Thomas Aquinas also teaches that Jesus Christ is the head of all men. Aquinas even teaches that all living men are in the mystical body of Christ, even those outside the church, who are in it potentially, though not actually. Thus, even Jews, Muslims, heretics, and heathen are, according to Aquinas, united in a certain way with Jesus Christ and God. Summa Part 3, Question 8, Article 3. Hence, we must say that if we take the whole time of the world in general, Christ is the head of all men, but diversely. For first and principally, he is the head of such as are united to him by glory. Secondly, of those who are actually united to him by charity. Thirdly, of those who are actually united to him by faith. Fourthly, of those who are united to him merely in potentiality, which is not yet reduced to act, yet will be reduced to act according to the divine predestination. Fifthly, of those who are united to him in potentiality, which will never be reduced to act, such as those men existing in the world who are not predestined, who, however, on their departure from this world, wholly cease to be members of Christ, as being no longer in potentiality to be united to Christ. We also see the same thing, quite ironically, taught in the very next verse after the verse the diamonds cite to establish their doctrine of Antichrist that they attribute to John Paul II. 1 John 4, verses 3-4. And every spirit that dissolves Jesus is not of God, and this is Antichrist, of whom you heard that he cometh, and he is now already in the world. You are of God, little children, and have overcome him, because greater is he that is...
Actually, guys, this has been debunked. Guys, have you seen the article? This has been debunked. The video has been debunked. Okay, it's been debunked. Okay, watch the debunking of this. Okay, it's been debunked. This claim has been refuted. It's been debunked. It's actually fake news. That's misinformation. Okay, bro, we're just gonna pretend like we didn't just see all of this.
is in you than he that is in the world. What is this? St. John dissolved Jesus Christ into all the people reading his epistle right as he was teaching them that to dissolve Jesus Christ was a doctrine of Antichrist? What a blatant contradiction left right at the heart of Christian dogma by one of its founding evangelists. Just kidding. It's not hard to see why so many credulous people who pass through the Diamondite theological funhouse end up fleeing to orthodoxy or occultism or abandoning religion altogether after learning to interpret scriptures from them. The Diamonds also have a habit of taking the writing and speech of their critics in a hyperliteral sense, especially when such an interpretation can be used.
No. Okay, it's not with bad will, it's with autism.
The person. For example, now we'll look at how Peter Diamond interprets multiple clips of Michael Matt as if he were speaking in a literal mode, when in fact he is using expressions and idioms. In his video, Michael Matt, False Traditionalism, and the Church in the End Times, Peter Diamond plays a number of clips of Michael Matt, obviously speaking in an exaggerated, hyperbolic, rhetorical mode, and then interprets them literally to place Michael Matt in a contradiction and condemn him by his own mouth.
Here's what Michael Matt said about Moore.
Again, I don't blame him. He's just gradually ceasing to be Catholic. That's just the way it is, and that's the way it is with millions of Catholics now.
Did you get that?
Again, I don't blame him. He's just gradually ceasing to be Catholic.
Matt says that he does not blame a man for, quote, gradually ceasing to be Catholic. Matt is thus directly excusing heresy, apostasy, and mortal sin. He is justifying the wicked. It's a sin, and contrary to the Catholic faith, to say that you don't blame a man for ceasing to be Catholic. It's another example of how Matt is, sadly, not a Catholic. And if you want further proof that we are correct, that the, quote, church to which Michael Matt clings, the, quote, church that Matt says Francis will not chase him out of, is not the Catholic Church, but a non-Catholic sect, we offer you the words of Michael Matt himself.
I mean, this is crazy, Chris. You start putting it all in context. We've got free and easy annulments, maybe de facto Catholic divorce coming up. You've got atheists going to heaven. Protestants don't need to convert. He's got this. We started the monologue talking about the fact that now our Jewish brothers and sisters are on their own. You're fend for yourself, folks. You don't need the Catholic Church. You don't need Christ. You don't need to be under the Roman Pontiff. What's going on, Chris? How much more ridiculous can this come? Can this go? And we continue to call it Catholic. This isn't the Catholic Church anymore. What is it?
Let's hear those statements again.
I'm not going anywhere. Francis is not going to chase me out of my own church. This isn't the Catholic Church anymore. What is it?
As his own words prove, he is in a non-Catholic sect.
The Diamonds also tend to speak in a monotonous, robotic manner. That is, when they're not in a rage, railing against someone for being a liar and a heretic who cares nothing at all for the Catholic faith. They also like to use pseudocode computer speak at times, speaking of something equaling something else, such as the beast equals pagan Rome or Babylon equals St. Peter's Basilica.
Now, the beast equals pagan Rome. Babylon's location equals the place where St. Peter is located, and a recognition of this fact suffices for a recognition of the points which follow.
Peter Diamond, even once out of nowhere, began talking about how something computes, as if he were a robot whose human personality program broke down for a moment.
However, it does compute that people who accept the spiritual fornication and harlotry of the Vatican II sect, as Voris's followers do.
The end of part 1. A sneak peek at part 2. Now that we've established
we need part 2.
That the Diamonds have a problem with a bizarre, idiosyncratic, literalist interpretation of scripture and the speech and writings of other men, it remains to determine as far as we can what accounts for this abnormality in their publications and thought process. To look for a solution, we can investigate and see who else, besides the Diamonds, suffer from a problem with literalism or
autists.
Concretism. ISIS has a problem.
Oh! No! Oh! We're literally ISIS. Oh, no! Oh, no. Oh. This is Autism 9/11 right here. This is Autist 9/11. Game over.
Problem with literalism. To be continued. P.S. Most Holy Family Monastery was literally a handicapped monastery. On a legally speaking unrelated but interesting note, Most Holy Family Monastery was originally founded to be a monastery for handicapped men. The founder, Joseph Natali, was a cripple who couldn't walk without crutches, who heard a voice while driving that told him to buy some land near Berlin, New Jersey, and build a monastery there. Afterwards, he repeatedly petitioned the Catholic Church for approval and was repeatedly denied.
The main thought in the beginning actually was to establish a community for handicaps. That was the main object. I don't let that idea go for only handicaps. Naturally, these doors are not closed to a handicapped person. But
wait, Peter Wait a second. Wait a second. They were in before Natalie died. Wait a second. They were in before Natalie died. So how did they make it in a handicapped monastery? Autism charges vindicated? I mean, would they put autistic people, like severe autists, in a handicapped monastery? Like, that would make sense, right? Like, how did they make it in? Interesting. What? Okay, some chat. Can you help me out on this, please?
It's not a community for handicaps no longer. But if any handicapped person is truly seeking a vocation, I will give them that opportunity to fulfill it.
Big think emoji.
Interesting. Wow. This is the rest of the video. Wow, the big think emoji. They got him before he could get part 2. They got him before he could get part 2. We all know they got him. They got him. When are they going to get me? When are they going to get me? Okay, I might answer some questions for a few minutes and then I'll leave. Kind of want to have an early off tonight since I started streaming early. Oh my goodness. Okay, I have to ask this. I have to ask a poll. Let's see if let me put a poll in. Are the diamonds autistic? Okay. Like why would they be in a handicapped monastery? This makes no sense. Like, does that not make sense to anybody? Okay. Huh. Really? Are you serious about that? Oh, crap. It's so over. Leave now. Maybe I won't. He supposedly had more videos that he took down. Really? I wonder if he'd let me review his other videos. Yeah, we need a timeline. We need a... Wait, what red string? Huh. Wait, what? Okay, that's kind of schizo. That is schizo. Oh no, Wagner's son's going to be set of a con. Bro, come on now. We can't joke about Augustine. Come on now. What is this stream about? I don't know. Read the freaking title. Are you illiterate or something? Okay. I don't know. Read a commentary, bro. Most Holy Family Monastery origins pick up where Terminator 2 ended. Diamond Bros are autistic T-800s confirmed. This is real. It's actually what I first thought about when I watched Terminator. Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing for them to get so ipso facto excommunication. I mean, that's a pretty hard thing to incur. Being like anti, mixing it doesn't seem like it would be something that would suffer that canonical penalty. Yeah, old news. What's the Catholic interpretation of 1 Corinthians 7:1? Read a commentary, bro. Mental reservation, I guess. Bro, Steven, come on now. We can't say that. What is mental reservation? I'm gonna link a website in the live chat that'll really help you with this. Okay. Okay, there you go. Right there. Check that out. Wait, where is it? Check that out right there. That should help you. Okay. My kids. My son is 3 and my daughter's 1. I knew this was coming. Then why do you ask? Yes, of course it is. What constitutes a doctor of the church? They're given a liturgical feast. We don't know, but maybe. St. Thomas's commentary on the book of Hebrews. Yeah, this is so fake. Fake. Anderson's a Jesuit plant. You should watch the Steven Anderson video the Diamonds made. It's both based and hilarious. I wonder if they do a takedown if I reviewed one of their videos. Okay, let me check this out. Steven Anderson. I'm so mad I lost my AirPods and I can't find it. Vatican Catholic. So did anybody watch the Nick Fuentes 5-on-1 stream? That's kind of funny. Quote, Pastor Steven Anderson exposed. Okay. Oh yeah, didn't we watch like the first 10 minutes and it was just him talking about how actually like gay people can be saved? Yeah. Oh, how about the Michael Lofton short on Steven Anderson? How about that? Eastern Quote Orthodox. It's 2 hours long. Yeah, I'm gonna send my kids to seminary. I don't know, bro. Why are you asking me? How am I supposed to know? Like, hey, Christian, are there gonna be hundreds of doctors at the church one day? I don't know. They don't consult me. You think Pope Francis is like, hey, Wagner, who are we gonna make doctors of the church? How many are we gonna cap it off at? I don't know. I have no idea, bro. Yes, that's true. Although I'm pretty sure that's technically profanation for you to say. No, it's just they cover the same material all the time. Bro, that would be so funny. Get the Diamond Brothers and Brother Nathaniel in the same room to fight about something. Bro, just Google where your AirPods are. Oh, there he got me. I don't know where they are. I mean, I've looked everywhere for it. I even asked my wife to look everywhere for it, and she can't find it. I mean, I'm screwed, I guess. So over. What are your thoughts on the free grace doctrine? I think it's wrong. We should try to get you on Aiden Ross's stream. That is much more likely than you guys trying to get me on the Talk to a podcast, okay? You guys should have put your energy towards something that was actually likely to happen. I mean, it's not that likely for it to happen. It's just sort of like a possibility thing. Yeah, he's done that in multiple videos. Okay, let me see. Yeah, so true. Okay, this is better. Most, quote, holy family monastery. No, actually, it's most, quote, holy family, quote, monastery. You're the expert. Just make something up. That's so real. Remember when Michael Lofton had that video where he was unironically saying that Pope Francis watches Reason and Theology? Pope Francis doesn't even have a TV or a phone. He's like, yeah, Pope Francis is in the Vatican watching Reason and Theology. You think Pope Francis is sitting at his computer? He doesn't even have a computer, I don't think. He's sitting at his he gets his aide to come over and it's like, put that Michael guy on the phone. And he sits there and watches in English Michael Lofton's 4-hour streams. Is that what Michael Lofton thinks happens? Please watch hastily made Cleveland tourism video 1 and 2. Okay, wait, let me see. Hastily made Cleveland tourism video. Okay. Well, it's only like 2 minutes. So I'll watch them. Okay, here's the first one. Ah! Wait. Frick. How do I turn the... Okay, it should be fine for me. I can't hear any sound. Oh, there you go. Because I had it muted.
Fun times in Cleveland today. Cleveland. Come on down to Cleveland town, everyone. Come and look at both of our buildings. Buy some food that's prepared near the street. Who knows, you might even see this guy. You should come on down to West 6th Street. It's the perfect place if you're a douchebag. Watch the poor people all wait for buses. Who the fuck still uses a payphone? Here's the place where there used to be industry. This train is carrying jobs out of Cleveland. Cleveland leads the nation in drifters. Here's a statue of Moses Cleveland. He's the guy who invented Cleveland. Yeah!
Sorry, bro. I don't know too much about Cleveland, so that wasn't funny to me. Yeah, devastating. Devastated. Bro's devastated. Please make it stop millennial humor. Yeah, that too. Jay does have some millennial humor. Hey Christian, please say nice gun, but without the E or the N. I see goo. I don't get it, bro. Wagner, I sent you a donation so that you would get an ad blocker recently. Yeah, I pocketed the money. I bought a beer for it. You Zoomers don't understand what was funny before TikTok. Yeah, it seems like we made a lot more things funny. Is there some funny video about Baltimore you could watch? Dude, oh my gosh. I have to tell a story. I know we're winding down here, but I have to tell a story. So it was recently my brother's 30th birthday party. And it was a surprise birthday party. And I was gonna drive up. Forgot to give the guy a birthday present for his 30th birthday. So I'm like, the least I could do is drive up. It's only like a 6-hour drive. For his birthday, like they had a late lunch, like 2-3 p.m. sort of thing. So I drive up for it, and it's smooth going. I mean, I love driving. I'm a huge driving fan. You know, drive everywhere. Drove up, and the first 5 hours and 45 minutes of this drive is glorious. You know, I'm going good, keeping good pace. You know, it's a nice drive. I'm listening to stuff. You know, having a good time. And then I enter into Baltimore. Oh my gosh, I enter into Baltimore. For those who don't know, I grew up near like an hour away from Baltimore, but like the area that all the white people lived in, so they didn't have to live in Baltimore. That's where I grew up. When I was born, there was 98% white. By the time I left high school, it was probably like 92% white, which was a huge shock. I mean, I just went back and it's probably like upper 80s now. It's, you know, but anyways, that's beside the point. So I get into Baltimore, and once you get into Baltimore, all of the speed limits are like 25 miles an hour. And it's really annoying because I'm used to driving a lot faster than 25 miles an hour, but it's whatever. And I'm a good citizen, so I'm keeping about 30 miles per hour going through the city. So double yellow lines, obviously, everywhere. And I'm driving, and there's, you know, about 2-3 cars behind me. And all of a sudden, I see this car, you know, speed up, just absolutely speed up and go around like 4 cars at once, including me. I'm at like the front of the line going 30 miles an hour. goes past all of the cars over the double yellow, almost smashes into another car, like, goes in right in front of me. And we were near a light. And I pull up next to this guy, and it's this guy, and he's, smoking marijuana on, like, texting on his phone in his Dodge Charger, like, at the light. And I'm assuming you can guess more about this situation. But at this light, and I look over, and he's like, just music, like rap music, extremely loud. I'm like, this city sucks. I literally, like, 2 minutes into me getting into Baltimore, and that's what I see. Guy almost killing everyone, texting while driving, while smoking weed in his Dodge Charger. Like, come on, bro. Could Baltimore suck anymore? Going to Baltimore, that's what I see. So I made sure, I parked, locked my car. I never locked my car, ever. Never. Growing up, never locked our cars, never locked our houses, never locked anything. We never locked anything. I didn't know how to use a key until I was in college. Like, my freshman year in college, when my roommates wanted to lock the apartment, they had to teach me how to lock a door with a key. I had no idea how to do it. Growing up, we never worried about stuff like that. And then I go into Baltimore, and I'm up here, wishing my CCL, applied to more states, and locking my car doors and hoping that my windows don't get smashed in and my car stolen, or all my stuff taken or something. Just Baltimore just sucks. I hate this. It's the worst city ever. It's the worst. Okay. Anyways. Yeah. You guys can all guess. You guys can all guess. Wagner getting banned from, would that sort of rank and be banned from YouTube? What are you talking about? Of course I locked. Why don't I lock the car? Who's going to break into my car? I live in a nice place. Who's going to break into my car? Like, a nice area with people who don't break into cars. Like, why would I lock my car? I'd lock my car if I was in a dangerous area, but if I was in a dangerous area, I wouldn't live in a dangerous area. You get it? If you need to lock your car in a place, you probably shouldn't live in that place, because it's probably a place you don't want to live in. You get it? Just live in a different place. Just move. Just move. Move. Live in a different place, okay? You don't have to live in a dangerous place. What do you mean? Why would I lock I leave my car keys in, I leave my wallet in, I leave everything in. Yeah. What if I'm too poor to move? And cry about it then. Wagner's not cooking. Oh, Wagner's not cooking. Well, I'm sorry that I lived in I grew up in an area with a lot of social trust, whose only crimes were the large amounts of arson of people, burning down random stuff in a farm area. Okay. If you need a CCL, just live in a different place, bro. Well, it's not about where I live. It's about where I go. If I'm going to Charlotte or something, obviously that's a completely different story than where I live. Like, I don't have to pack, around where I live. Okay. Lots of social trust. Lots of social trust. We had very low crime rates, very, very low crime rates. I mean, I'd be interested in checking out the town that I grew up in, whether there was even a car break in the year I was born. Okay. I'll check the whole county. Crime statistics 2001. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, okay. Wow, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. 2001. Murder/manslaughter, 0. Rape, 0. Robbery, 0. Aggravated assault, 0. Total violent crime, 0. 0! They're all 0. They're all 0, okay? Look at this. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Wow, look at this. 0, 0, 0, 0. Oh, why don't you lock your car, Christian? Why don't you lock your car? Maybe because the place I grew up in had 0 violent crime for, let's look. 5 years in a row. Actually, 1995. I'm assuming it's 1995 to 2000. China had a violent crime since 1990. Okay, and that was a single rape, which obviously, you know, I'm not for my own safety concerned with. Okay, hadn't been a manslaughter since 1980. I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm not concerned with my car getting broken into. Maybe it's because I grew up in a place like that. Okay. No, there was 98%. There was literally just arson. That's all we had. And that was because there was bored teenagers burning stuff down. We had like 5 times the national rate of arson. Okay. Maybe that's why I don't do it. Let me look at the specific town I grew up in. Crime rate. Now everything's different. Everything's changing. You know. Yeah, violent crime rate of 1/3 the national average now. Still 1/3 the national average, even after all the changes that have occurred. Okay, let me see all of the. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Even this year, violent crime. 0 murder, 0 rape, 0 robbery. Okay. Okay. And yeah. Why would I lock my car, okay? Like why? Why would I do that? It is kind of crazy how safe the location I grew up in was. Okay, okay, the only crimes that go into Wagner's neighborhoods are tax evasion, bribery, non-armed robbery, and rioting. Yeah, no rioting. Yeah, it was funny because the area I grew up in, like obviously, as I said, very white, and and during the Black Lives Matter protest stuff, you'd go past like the little town bank that we had that's like 150 years old. You go past the little town bank, and there was this one like high school kid who, you know, got liberalized on TikTok, and they're holding like the Black Lives Matter little poster, and everybody's just like passing by, just like yelling and honking at them. Like, it was so epic. Like in Main Street, which Main Street was probably like, we had a Sheetz, which was pretty cool. I mean, Sheetz is where we used to get food because like it was kind of far. Well, I mean, it was about 10 minutes to the nearest like fast food place, and Sheetz was like 3 minutes away. Had like a diner too, but the downtown is a liquor store, of course. Downtown was like a quarter mile maybe, like, and that's stretching. Like that's how long the town was, you know, the main street of the town. And you had this one like liberalized kid with like dyed hair and like, you know, the piercings. Like you know, if you imagining it, like it's exactly how that looks. And he's standing there and everybody's just bullying him like as they pass by in their cars. Like people, because there are a lot of people in trucks, obviously, just dousing him in exhaust. You know, that kid was like severely bullied for doing that. But yeah, that's a place I grew up in. So of course I don't lock my car doors. I do not lock my car doors ever. And we had a random murder. Well, that was the town over though, not my town. We had a random murder, and it happened to be some guy's parents who my brother and I knew the family. And the husband got sick of his wife during COVID and just ended her existence with a hammer. That was crazy. That's like the only like murder that I can think of that occurred in the area. No, I never did anything like that. Okay, never did anything like that. No, nope, not those. Okay, yeah, funny. I found the middle name. Yeah, why do you keep lying about my middle name? Okay. You're 200 miles from Lancaster. My family grew up in Lancaster area. Yeah. Anyway, has your town been trending blue? No. In my county, Democrats don't even run. You have like it's basically they don't have a primary because the general election is the primary because it's just Republicans running against each other. Like let me look at Manchester, Maryland town mayor, like the mayor election. I can't even remember. Wonder if they have the election information. There probably wasn't even a election that occurred. Oh, yeah, okay, so there was a fight between crap. Why would I subscribe? Oh, it's only available to 180 votes to the 133 votes. Yeah, that's how the voting goes. 180 votes to 133 votes. That's crazy. I can't believe that's but it's behind a paywall. I'm trying to figure out. Melinda Smith. I can't believe they elected a woman. That's crazy. First female mayor. Okay, that's terrible. The achievement is a milestone. She doesn't think being female has anything to do with her election to the office. Oh my gosh. Really? So what all I would need to do to win that election is go back to my hometown where a bunch of people know me and convince like 200 of them to vote for me. Like if I went to like talk to all the high school kids that don't vote in local election, I said, "Hey, I will pay each of you $10 to vote for me. You just do a write-in ballot, $10. 200 of them, I'm the mayor of the city. I'm the mayor of the city. I'm mayor of the city. Epic, and I'm pretty sure they pay me a salary too. And then I could leverage that position to extort money from local businesses. Yeah. And stop immigration to Manchester. Keep it up to the 98%. Okay, no more immigration. This is my plan. I could absolutely do it. Progress is necessary regarding important issues like water, safety, and a balanced budget. I could help out with safety. I could help out with safety. Oh man. Really only need 180 votes. It's very interesting. Wow. I could actually do this, chat. Just run for local mayor and just convince enough people to do it because there's not that many people who vote. Yeah, and all I need to do is just come up with made up issues too. Like the people won't check. Like people don't check. Watch the "We're on Your Side" vid, only 4 seconds. Okay, I'll watch it. But just think about it like this: if you're running for politics, this would be an ultimate troll. If I ran for if I ran and became the mayor of a small city, that'd be my ultimate crowning troll. Oh, dude, bros, I moved to Fillmore, New York, and become the mayor of Fillmore. Then I'd be the mayor of the Diamond Brothers. How many people are in Fillmore, New York? Okay, Fillmore, New York. If you think about it, all you need to do is you need to come up with some sort of controversy that isn't really a big deal, but just rile people up about it. Like use a bunch of rhetoric. Just get your name out there. Just recruit like your little minions in your area, and just have name recognition. Go to the local like recent graduates and like stuff like that, and just like harp on an issue and just tell everybody you meet that you're gonna give them what they want. It'd be super easy. Like give them a bunch of promises that there's no way you could fulfill these promises, but none of them know about that. You think this 18-year-old's gonna know that you can't actually like help them pay off their student loans or something like that? Like we're gonna have local student loan support or like something stupid like that. They'd be like, "Oh, really? Oh, that's a great idea. I care about that." And you just tell them all, and of course they vote for you. You know, you go to all these like we had what are they called, like the like developments. We'd have developments, go out there and talk to all like the suburban white women and just say we're gonna help with childcare. Like the local government's gonna help with childcare. They believe you and they'd vote for you. I'd win in a landslide. Like I would absolutely obliterate the entire competition just by making crap up. Like all these politicians, I remember they'd go around and like knock on our door and stuff. And, they'd say a bunch of dumb stuff and bring up like, I'm a local and like, I've been here forever, blah, 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 blah. Like I'm a local and I've been here forever. Hey, you just tell your people you're going to give them crap and they'll vote for you. Like you don't have to actually like follow through with it. And anytime like you go for re-election, somebody's like, oh, you didn't follow through with it. Oh. All you have to do is just deny it. Be like, yeah, I did. And then just make up a case where you followed through with it. And I fact checked you. I'll fact check you on the fact that you're actually just making that up and just say like, no, actually that's wrong. And then people will believe you. Like politics is so easy. I could do this. Should I do this? Okay. Because I remember when I was younger, we had a guy who was 18, like he was still in high school. Either he was still in high school or he just graduated high school, and he ran for the Maryland State like House of Representatives or whatever, like not like the National House Representative, like the State House Representatives, and he won. I mean, he just went around, enough people recognized his name and they just voted for him. Like local politics is stupidly easy to get ahead in, And then I wouldn't even know what I would do with my job. I probably would just do nothing. Like, what are they gonna do? Fire me? Like I'm already elected. I'm an elected official. I'll fire all them. And I'm the mayor. I'll fire all of you. There's no impeachment process for me. Actually, I'll dissolve all their positions and I will bring power to myself. I will rule this place. Okay, Fillmore, New York. How many people are in Fillmore, New York? Population of 652. Oh, this is easy W. I could absolutely win this. Fillmore was also the site of Most Holy Family Monastery, which was deemed a hate group by the SPLC. That's all I need to do. All I need to do is go to Fillmore, say I will deal with the hate group in our community. And who's gonna say, oh no, I want the hate group in our community? Like you just say that and they'll vote for you. That's not that hard. And then I'll become the power hungry wagoner. I'm gonna cause J6 and Fillmore. It would not be that hard at all. As long as you just have to like who's the mayor of Fillmore, New York? Okay. And I would just like pay off the local newspaper writers to have like bad make up stuff about the current mayor. Who is the mayor of Fillmore, New York? The mysterious death of the mayor of Fillmore, New York. Okay. Huh. Fillmore, Alabama. Huh. Okay, I don't know. These people are just so silly, like local politicians. I would smoke them. I could smoke all of them. Do you guys believe me? Do you guys think I could win these elections? Local politics is easy. You have a group of 10 guys to knock on doors for you. Yeah, and I'd pay them all. I'd just be like, okay, bros. You gotta make it like a very like fratty environment and just get a bunch of like 18 to 22-year-olds to run it for you. And they'll be like walking across like the freaking they would walk over broken glass for you, if you give them that environment. They would knock on every single door 10 times. I'd be able to rule the place, and I'd give them promises too. I'd promise them all the positions of power. Imagine then I replace the entire board of the city with a bunch of dudes in their early 20s. Yeah, I could do that. Like, why don't we do stuff like this? Like, imagine how funny that would be. Do you think they'd throw me in jail? Do you think they'd do that? Could they do that? They probably couldn't do that. I mean, I'm the mayor. What are they going to do? I'll just fire the chief of police. They can bring in the state police. I'll raise the militia then. I'll raise the real frat bro uprising. Just raise the militia against the state government. Yeah, there's regulations for elections. Okay, well, I'll just break all the laws and then, yeah. Run for Register of Deeds. What does the Register of Deeds do? They could coup you. Yeah, I don't care. I'll arrest them all. Okay. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, you guys are all telling me that this is a bad idea. The seat of the mayor is vacant. Really? Oh wait, no, this is just a joke about sedevacantism. Okay. Never mind. Wait, the Registrar of Deeds, and then wait, so they could, yeah, but then they would sue me, or they'd sue the office. Then I wouldn't really care about that because yeah, because if I'm doing my official duties, I'm not liable for being sued by them. Interesting. I could do that. This is a great idea, to be honest. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and then also what I could do is I could somehow make it so all of my guys that I have in my team, like I get the surrounding mayoral races, and I get them to win it, and I'm like the super mayor of the area, and eventually we just take over the whole county. I could run like run like a mafia of mayors because they're so easy to win. Like, come on, 300 people are voting out of like a population of probably like 3,000 now. Only 10% of the population votes. You literally just need to tell people about the elections. They're like, oh, whoa, wow, I didn't know about that. You just have to tell people about the elections and just give them some sort of reason to get out there and vote for, some dumb reason. You get like 200 people. That's not that hard. Just get them to vote. I could do that. r/Catholic dating, sort by no. A town of hominy.gov/directory. Okay, let me look. This local politics thing seems very attractive to me. Always had a dream of being a small town mayor. Is that a weird dream to have? Like, local politics sounds so base to me. The town supervisor, Darlene Mason. The dog control officer. That's the job I want. The town of Hume. Oh, so it's the town of Hume. Okay. I get it now. Thank you for that. Okay, town of Hume. Okay, so it's 2,000 people. Let me see. Okay, so there's multiple different communities. Fillmore, Hume, Mills. Okay, Mills, really? Mills. It's named after the Mills family. Okay, I love this place. Rossburg and Wiscoy. Wow. Let me see the... Okay, 700. Okay, 98.79% white, 0.15% African American, 0.3% Native American, 0.2% Asian, and then 0.5% for 2 or more races. This sounds like exactly where I grew up. Okay, I could get with these people. Okay. I could fix all of their problems. Let me look at the mayoral race. The mayor of Hume City. What is Hume City? Is this the same place? Hume City? No, that's Australia. Frick that. I need town of Hume. Okay, I don't need Hume City. We need town of Hume. Okay, let me look. The election results. In the 2020 election. They didn't even update the 2020 election. That's crazy. The mayor. Okay, who's the mayor? Wow, it's so irrelevant. They didn't even update the election sheets. This is crazy. Okay, let me actually switch over to sharing my screen. I promise I'll share my screen now. Yeah, like, look at this. It's so irrelevant. They didn't even update the website. They just made the website and nobody decided to update it. I need to figure this out now. Unofficial. Okay, let me see. For more than 2. Oh my gosh, get out of here with these pop-ups. Allegheny County, that's the county where it's in. Board of Elections officials reported unofficial vote totals for more than 150 elected offices on Tuesday morning. Okay, in countywide races, all candidates were unopposed Republicans. Ian Jones, 4,000 votes. Okay, that's not that many. There were 25 write-in votes. Robert Chrisman, a Republican, received 3,831 votes. There were 27 write-in votes. Okay, these are all county officials. Town and village elections. Town of Alfred. Look at this. 175 votes. 138 votes. Superintendent of Highways, 165 votes. Which town is it? It's the town of Humphrey? Hume. It's town of Hume, sorry. Like, look at these vote totals. Look, like barely any. Supervisor, 24. 24 votes. 24. The supervisor is basically like the mayor. Literally, I could just go and convince my extended family to vote and I'd win this. Who went the big one? The town of... Where is it? Did I miss it? Town of Independence, 97 votes. Town of Hume, there we go. Darlene Mason, 199 votes. Chat, do you think I could convince 200 people to vote for me in this small town? Would not be that hard. But I might also radicalize people against me. We could definitely... We're taking over all of the elected offices in town of Hume. We're going to win, boys. We're going to win. I read somewhere that the Amish have been taking over local governments in Ohio and Pennsylvania. Dude, this is our Catholics. Okay, I'm brilliant, guys. This is brilliant. This is brilliant. I just had a massive big brain moment. I went big brain. What if we just took over? We have our traditional Catholics, and we just take over a bunch of city governments. We just make we just make the county. We just make the county, officially Catholic. Could we do? Yes, local. Yeah, aid stream die. Local Catholic action. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, boys. It wouldn't be that hard. We could, rather than the Amish taking over all of these, we can have the Catholics taking all over these. We can win. The Wagner lisp is so funny. Yeah, you're funny. What determines whether a town is a mayor? I don't know, bro. Christian B. Wagner for mayor. He doesn't lock his cars. Exactly. The county would be so much stronger and cohesive if it had some diversity. Okay. 15.3K subscribers easily could lead to a mass migration to rig the elections. That's what I'm saying. I have enough of a pool to destroy one of these city elections. I have enough of a pool to destroy a city election. Or I just have a lot of kids. Or then I infiltrate the local Catholic parishes. I'm like, hey, I will defend our values. I will defend the Catholic values. And then I need to just infiltration. I need to find one of these small towns with like the big Catholic parish in the area. That's where all the people are going to have their that's where all the people are going to be. Wait, I didn't think about that because they're not going to live like right next to the parish. Okay, I'm still brainstorming through this. We're workshopping this idea, okay? We're workshopping it. We're not that loyal, big bro. Okay, I guess you're right. Yeah, what is the St. Mary's, Kansas? Do they have all of their let me look at their elections. St. Mary's, Kansas elections. Okay. Ballotopedia. Okay, U.S. Senate. Okay, we care about state officials. Nope, we don't care about that. Local results. Okay. Huh. Okay, I don't see any local results. Okay, elections. Potawatomi, Minimi, Official website. Yeah, okay, unofficial results. Can I just get the unofficial results then? There are no results at this time. Okay, never mind. Anyways, I've been yapping way too long. So I need to go. Goodbye. Oh yeah. How am I explaining to my daughter why we have to leave all her friends right now so Wagner can take over a small town? Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Okay, a full stream to workshop this sometime. Yeah, maybe one of these nights I'll write this down. The Wagner official town takeover. The Wagner official town takeover stream. We'll be talking about some local politics, okay, boys? This is our way. Like we can take over local politics because the thing about local politics is it's like minimal effort. Like you have a board meeting like once a week. Like you don't really do anything. Don't do anything. But if you get all your guys in office, you could just like make a whole bunch of absolutely funny troll moments where you're just like consecrate, like get the priest to consecrate the town officially to the Sacred Heart or something like that. And people would just seethe. Find places where like they're really weird town change things and just change them all to Catholic names, change all these town names and have everybody cry about it. Like find all these towns where they just have like, oh, the mayor can decide or the town council can decide or something. Fill the town council with all our guys and then just change it to like St. Thomas Aquinas. Just have like hundreds of St. Thomas Aquinas all over America. Yeah. The crazy thing is that local politics is what eventually causes big change, and yet few people care. See, this is the plan. This is the plan. We're going to get it done, boys. Don't worry about it. I'll call it Project 2025. Okay. Anyways, you guys all have a fantastic day. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and as always,
Pope Benedict XVI said that mental prayer is an ordinary means that enables the disciple of Jesus to live in intimacy with the divine teacher. Yet, how does one engage in mental prayer? One of the greatest masters of the spiritual life was St. Ignatius of Loyola. In the 19th century, a certain Jesuit priest decided to write a complete guide to mental prayer, patterned on the works of St. Ignatius. Check out this work on Amazon, completely typeset under the title A Brief Guide to Mental Prayer According to the Mind of St. Ignatius.